presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. Good morning, everybody, and welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo and Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, boys?
Coop. Good morning,
Jail.
boys.
You hit us with a little blue steel when you came on the camera just now.
A little blue
steel. One of you a
steel?
little bit. You were like, kind of hit us. It was nice. It was nice.
Hit you with the eyes.
It was a little smolder to wake up everybody watching this morning. Like you thought you were safe in your car on your way to work, but then you look down at the cup holder, it's the red light.
And I'm right here, baby.
Hit you with the smoldering look and
the flow.
Give you a little jolt in the morning.
Turn the AC on, dude.
Crank it down to low where it doesn't even say a number anymore. That's my favorite in cars. Whenever like
rising.
You can put it on like 61 or you can put it on low. Just all the way on low. Craig in the chat. Good day, fellas. What's up, Craig? Glad to have you.
What up, Craig? Good morning.
And I see Tommy down here says, "What up, guys? Love the hat, Simon." Thanks, Tommy. I didn't pick it. I got lucky getting this hat. It just happened to come into my possession.
I think I'm wearing a hat that says Corey Billy's airboat rides on it.
That's exactly what I thought your hat was going to say, Coop. I was positive that I was going to say Corey Billy's airport rides.
I saw that. I was like, gotta have that.
Come on down there, bro. We got Corey Billy's
airport rides. So that is actually a place. It's in like
taking rats free.
It's a place, and it's exactly what you think it is. It's in like deep Everglades, right? And the dude's like, he's one of those dudes that like nobody else in the country can do stuff with gators the way I can, and then he just kind of like holds it up, right?
Again, the whole time,
and his arms are just covered in gator scars. I'm just like,
yeah, we had a 30-footer named Mason.
Settle down, Corey. You're scaring everyone, Corey.
Not the fact that Corey's probably scarier than the gators is a problem down there because gators are pretty scary. Those just like they like haven't evolved in such a long time because they've just been the perfect killing machines. Like they've just been murder machines for as long as we can remember. This is a fantasy football show, and so far we've talked about Corey Billy, we've talked about gators, and about smoldering looks in the chat. Tommy says he has the same hat, Coop. He's got the Corey Billy hat.
Do you?
He's got a Corey Billy airport ride hat?
I don't doubt it, dude. Tommy seems like a Corey Billy enthusiast. Nothing more exciting than being on a fan boat with a psycho, just wondering when it's going to get dumped into a swamp full of gators. So that really gets the blood flowing, dude. I was like, I got off that thing. I was like, man, I need a hat to remember this terrifying experience. Just kidding. So yeah, that's where I got this hat.
God, there's nothing worse than being trapped, right? Like you realize, oh, I should not have come on this tour, but there's nothing you can do.
On a fan boat.
You're there. You're on the fan boat. You're not going anywhere now.
My mom is just like sitting in the front, oblivious. She's like, "Oh, look at that! Like that's cool." I'm just like, "You
see Corey Billy's scar?
One eye."
We had some news. We had some news go down since yesterday that we need to go over today. We talked a little bit about TJ Watt in yesterday's episode, but we've gotten confirmation that he will not need surgery after that second opinion, and he's expected to miss 6 weeks. Asked if he could go on injured reserve. Tomlin was non-committal yesterday. Injured reserve would rule out Watt for a minimum of 4 games. So they can designate up to 8 players to return from IR throughout the season. Each player can return twice. So there's still a chance TJ Watt goes on IR, but it's looking like a 6-week return time for him, which will be huge for that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Also on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee Harris has said that he will play this week. So we saw yesterday the x-ray came back negative. He had a chance to play. According to Najee himself, he is going to play in week 2. Coop, we talked about it yesterday, but hearing him say on a Tuesday that he's expecting to play in week 2 on Sunday, are you willing to start Najee Harris? We talked about it. It sounds like you are. And what's that willingness level?
Yeah, I mean, you really have to have somebody that's like a beast, right? Like if you just crush your draft and you hit on guys every level the way down. Like you hit on, you took Najee, but then you also got like a Coral Patterson and a Rashad Penny and all these guys that also have full-time roles. Then you might be able to get away with it. Probably not many teams out there that look like that. Like I'm not going to start like Rex Burkhead over Najee Harris, right? So pretty interesting. I will say Jalen Warren's gotten a lot of hype, and I'm not sure if you guys saw the video of him laying blocks this weekend, but like this guy, we talk about rookies and how they struggle with pass blocking. This guy was obliterating people, like coming up the middle, like putting them on their back, which was pretty wild. And Chase Claypool had a run where he was a lead blocker, and like he like put his dude off the field. So that Jalen Warren kid can play. If there is a situation where Najee's out, I might be interested in him, but for now, can't really do anything with him. But something to keep in mind. Like they like that kid.
Yeah, I think he's worth a pickup. I'm curious. Do you think he might still be sitting out there on some waiver wires with Najee Harris saying that he's healthy? Is he someone that you'd be willing to add maybe after waivers run if he's still out there?
I grabbed him. I just did that. It's pretty early here, so easy enough to go in before everyone else gets up. I know it's kind of late where you are in Australia, Brad Bolt. Brad, what time do waivers run in Australia? I'm interested.
Ooh, good question. Good question.
It's like
is it still Tuesday night or is it like Wednesday night?
It's probably Wednesday afternoon or something, 12:15 or whatever the odd numbered clock is at that moment. So let's say, Brad, let us know what time waivers run over there.
Okay, you just broke my brain trying to think about that. Like, is it tomorrow or is it yesterday? It's going to be tomorrow, right? We're almost to tomorrow in Australia. They're in the future.
Almost.
Gotta be.
They gotta be in the future.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Brad, let us know if you're in the future or in the past, and when waivers run. Yesterday, we found out that Marlon Mack signs with the San Francisco 49ers practice squad. Any interest in Marlon Mack with this addition? He's on the practice squad, but there could be a chance that he gets elevated to that roster.
It's always annoying when Marlon Mack gets signed. See, Marlon Mack is like the new Jordan Howard, right? Like he just gets signed somewhere, and then you never know what his impact's going to be. Like Jordan Howard,
Jay Ajayi.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like Jay Ajayi. Like Jordan Howard just last year he gets signed to the Eagles and gets like 20 goal line carries just for no reason. And it's like, but that real football, you got to have depth. So I don't blame them for making the signing, but I would still put Jeff Wilson 1, Tyrion Davis-Price 2, and then Mack behind those guys.
Mack behind. What about Jordan Mason?
Jordan Mason to me is a different kind of player, where he's more of a pass catching type dude, right? Like I don't know if their role is going to overlap per se.
Yeah, because
Marlon Mack overlaps with what TDP does. They're both the kind of bruisers, So I think one of those guys, like Tyrion Davis-Price, was a healthy scratch. So maybe they do view Marlon Mack as better at this juncture. Hard to say.
Yeah, 100%. We also found out that Trent McDuffie was placed on the IR, so he will likely not play in that Kansas City Chiefs secondary this week against the Los Angeles Chargers, which could be helping set us up for that high-scoring game that we're hoping for on Thursday. Someone in the secondary, the starting player in the secondary for the Chiefs, not making it out onto the field. I'm excited for this Chiefs-Chargers game. And I see Tommy in the chat saying, what is the down-under on the Chiefs-Chargers game? Asking Brad. He doesn't care about our opinion. He wants the Australian opinion on this Chiefs-Chargers game. What time do those games happen in the middle of the night? I got to get this time zone stuff out of my head because that's all I'm thinking about.
Throwing me off. Yeah, it's there.
Rodrigo Blankenship, kicker, was waived by the Indianapolis Colts. Chase McLaughlin signed by the Colts Tuesday. Blankenship had a pretty rough outing on Sunday in that Colts-Texans game. They probably put some of the blame on that tie on him, and kicker's got a short leash. There's not much. A bad game from a kicker that's not named Justin Tucker, who hasn't established himself in the league, can get you kicked off the team. Do you think Blankenship ends up anywhere, or is this the end of the Goggle saga?
Don't say Goggle saga.
I don't know, dude. The kickers, it's so hard to get a read on, dude. I just listen to whatever Linda says. Linda TM, Lindellians. She's the kicker guru over there on Twitter. She usually has a good read on whether guys are going to get another shot somewhere, but it seems like they always get at least a tryout, right?
Typically, yeah.
he usually gets to try. And God, I just want him to find a team somewhere. He's a fun player to root for when he walks out there with the goggles on. I don't know what it is. There's just something endearing about it. Have you guys seen the website that his dad created for him when he was a recruit? Have you ever seen that? He was a soccer player and a kicker. And his dad made this website where like he would write little articles just talking about how great his son was and then post these articles on this website that was just made for recruiters. It was so cringy. Like it's so cringy. I have to imagine Rodrigo was like embarrassed, like, Dad, stop it. Like stop
Take
doing
that down.
that.
Articles.
Do
you think his dad went out and wrote an article yesterday? Loser son gets cut.
Probably. It's probably mixed in there with all the articles. It's like the nation's best place kicker made 2 really incredible field goals in Georgia's loss to blah blah blah, but it wasn't his fault. Like
OBJ's dad is emailing him, hey, how'd you make that website?
I like to picture him being like a independent and unbiased fake journalist where he's like, he deserved to get cut. No son of mine.
He's just trying to become like a beat writer.
In other news, my son is dead to me. I have no son.
Uninvited to Thanksgiving.
In other separate news, I have no son.
Oh man, that Rodrigo Blake. But if he gets signed, then maybe his dad will be proud of him again. Rodrigo Blankenship, here's hoping you can repair that relationship with your dad. Get a nice article next week instead of just a plain article this week. Craig wants to know which of you 3 would be the best NFL kicker.
Let's see.
I hate to say it, guys, but I got the Cavs.
You
I'm not sure you got the flexibility, Jay. Like, you see what they do with their leg when they go through on the kick?
You ever seen me flex?
Oh no.
No.
What have you done
once?
Producer Keith. Only one way to find out, he says. So great. Look what you've done, Craig. Now we're gonna have to submit a video.
So
yeah, now Keith's gonna make us go to the park and kick footballs.
I don't want to brag, but at the College Football Hall of Fame in downtown Atlanta, they have an area of the museum where you can attempt a field goal. And I stood in line with like 20 other people, and I was the only one who made it. Granted, most of them were around 8 years old, but I drilled that field goal. Like my dad was out there. Talk about proud dads. My dad was hanging out with all the other dads. I was 22 years old, and he was just like mocking all the parents of these 8-year-olds who couldn't nail the 20-yard field goal in the college football.
That yours? Yep.
Yeah, that's my son. That's my boy out there.
That's my boy.
Just hit that 20-yarder.
I like to think that Rodrigo Blankenship and his dad were there that day, and they saw you crushing him, and that was the day where he sat him down in the car, and he was like, "Did you see that?
I'm making a website.
Did you see that? I'm making a website." Oh yeah, but dude, you know who is incredible at kicking field goals? I learned this at the expo. J-Wall, dude. J-Wall was
Don't you talk him up anymore.
Don't worry,
big head.
He's sleeping. He'll never know.
First of all, I love J-Wall, dude.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, well, he's gonna have to watch now because I'm gonna tweet at him and let him know you get a shout on the show. But I love that dude. He's funny. But he was out there in his cut off Aaron Hernandez jersey, or Aaron was
Randy Moss.
It was Randy Moss jersey, yeah. And he was just crushing like 30, 40.
Dude, what a flex if J-Wall showed up to the expo in an Aaron Hernandez jersey.
Oh my God, yeah. Next year.
What a statement.
Next year. But dude, he was crushing field goals. And I was like, who is that dude? And then I was like, is that J-Wall? Just absolutely smushing like 50-yard field goals. So,
smushing.
Yeah. So that's my pick for the show. Friend of the show, J-Wall.
Smush that 50-yarder.
We also found out, Coop, I believe you had a Kendrick Bourne tidbit for us, maybe some Patriots insider knowledge that would make Kendrick Bourne more fantasy relevant going forward.
Yeah, so Patriots insider knowledge from a real insider, Tom Curran, came out and said that Kendrick Bourne, apparently he's had a rough offseason. He got into a fight at the Panthers game that he started. So what we learned from Hard Knocks is they only get mad at you. Or actually, we learned from the Saints coach talking about Donald Penning getting fights every day. He was like, well, it really depends on what's going on. Because the guy got kicked out of practice three days in a row. And he's like, so 2 times we got mad at him, but the third time I don't really think it was his fault. So he's not going to be punished for that. I'm like, all right, cool. So it's okay to fight. It's okay to throw the second punch. And
as long as it's not your fault.
At the Saints practice. Yeah, that's fine. But anyway, Kendrick Bourne, and then I guess he was late for a meeting. So he was benched, right? And when Robert Kraft at a certain point of the game, was probably frustrated like most of us Patriots fans, realized he wasn't playing. He went down to the sideline, asked why Kendrick Bourne wasn't playing, and said, put Kendrick Bourne in the game. And then Kendrick Bourne proceeded to, on 2 snaps, catch a 40-yard pass, right? So the reports now are that Kendrick Bourne is going to be the words used were an integral part of the offense moving forward. So
Daddy Kraft came in.
Daddy Kraft said, that's my son. Right. So, Daddy Kraft went on his fake blog and was like,
yeah, his Wix site.
Yeah, but they do like Kendrick is like a guy that, from what I've seen, everyone around the team and on the team likes him, but he might be the kind of troublemaker guy. Like everyone's got like handshakes with him. They seem to like him, but he's not, getting in fights, showing up late to meetings and stuff. So we'll see what happens. But deep enough leagues, worth maybe throwing on a bench spot just to see what his snaps look like this week.
You think Daddy Kraft isn't used to losing, and if this keeps happening, like if the Patriots keep losing, we're going to see him try to get more and more involved. Like he's had that trust for Bill, but he's getting a taste of maybe what it feels like without just having a great team.
Yeah, maybe just start acting like a fantasy manager that's losing and just being like, I'm starting this guy off my bench. Like he's really like, why isn't Jonnu playing more?
Walks down to the field.
Just goes down the field like whoever's on. We're losing with these guys. Why don't we use these guys?
Put Jonnu in.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, a new Jerry Jones in town. I believe that what you described is exactly what Jerry Jones
is. 100%. That's it. Jerry Jones is like,
we used to win when we had Troy Aikman.
Put Tony Pollard in.
Why can't you be more like Emmitt Smith?
Denver Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett said he definitely should have gone for it on critical fourth down.
You think so? As Grimace would say, duh.
Shut up.
So you guys are saying you would have on 4th and 5 with less than a minute and a half left in the game with the franchise quarterback you just paid over $250 million, you would have tried to pick up those 5 yards instead of sending your kicker out to kick a 64-yard field goal, the longest of his career?
That's the rub.
The longest of his career and the second longest of all time by anyone. Right? Like that would match. He would tie some dude from like the 70s that had like an illegal club foot. He had like half a foot that was like made just for kicking field goals. Like that's the kick
that was made just for kicking field goals.
That's the kick you're trying to get this dude to make. Like, like ridiculous, bro. Completely.
Yeah, like in what universe? Like, would you rather Russell Wilson has to gain 5 yards or a kicker not named Justin Tucker has to hit a 64-yarder to win the game? Like it just is absurd to me.
Yeah.
And they let 40 seconds run off the clock before that as well. Like it's not like they didn't have time to get 5 yards closer and then kick a field goal. It was just doesn't make any sense to me. Do you think Hackett's already on the hot seat? Do you think this is a coach that like if we get 2 more bad games, they start 0-3 with this team that had high expectations? Do you think we start talking about maybe a midseason firing like we saw last year with Meyer?
I don't think it's at the Meyer level because Meyer, like there weren't the comment there. I haven't seen comments like that say that they don't like Hackett over there. I mean, I've seen the opposite. We had the guys come out and say, I feel better at 0-1 this year than we did at 3-0. With Urban Meyer, you had people like going out of their way, going to reporters being like, and they were like, do you want to be anonymous for this? And they were like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Just like Trevor Lawrence, like just tell him not to start Carlos Hyde, please. Like, I don't care if I'm anonymous, like so I think it's a little different situation. I don't know, Jay, what do you think? Do you think there's a possibility that who's their own, the John Elway, the horse tooth guy? Do you think there's any chance that he pulls the plug this early on Hackett?
I don't think so. Urban Meyer, there were definitely other situations. If Urban Meyer hadn't had like multiple just egregious scandals continuously throughout the season, I think he would have gotten more leeway. I don't think it was as simple as, oh, you're losing games. They knew they were going to lose games. With Broncos, I don't think one bad game time decision at the end of one game is going to do it. I think a lot of people are hyped on the Broncos. A lot of people are more excited for the Broncos than they've been in years. So I don't think that it's really anywhere close to the same situation.
All I'm saying is, with what you said, Jay, like the Jaguars, they start 0-3. No one bats an eye. They're supposed to start 0-3. If this Broncos team starts 0-3, there's a problem. Like this team had like playoff hopes, like making a playoff run with Russell Wilson. They've been a quarterback away for how long now, right? Like that's been the thought about this Denver Broncos team. Well, you got your quarterback now, you got your new head coach. And if he doesn't get it done, like if this is a rough start, I think his leash is a lot shorter than Urban Meyer's was down in Jacksonville. And Urban Meyer ran out of leash pretty quickly, even though maybe he had a longer one. But Hackett doesn't have the same luxury of being put on a losing team that he has to rebuild. He's put on a team that is expected to immediately win.
Urban Meyer made it to 2-11, despite what JL describes as egregious and continuous scandals, right? Like he made it until he didn't fly back on the plane and hung out at like a bar. You know what I mean? So if he can make it to 2-11, I think Hackett's got to get at least half a season here, right?
No, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to happen in 3 games, but I do think if he's not winning, we start hearing those rumors, right? We start hearing the talks of it. That'll happen in a couple weeks, but hopefully they pull it out. They're big favorites again this week, if I remember correctly. The Broncos are 9.5-point favorites over the Texans. So apparently Vegas not scared off too much on what they saw against the Seahawks in that past game. So hopefully they can right the ship, and then we're having a different conversation about Hackett next week. Coming up, we are going to be talking a little bit about Survivor Pool, some picks for week 2, and then we're going to be playing Fantasy Detectives as well, bringing that back, week 1 edition. We'll have some hypothetically prompts coming your way later in the show, and we'll talk player props for week 2, some of the fun ones. The waiver wire may have run in your league, but there's probably still some players worth picking up out there. We'll talk some of the guys that could be sitting out there on your waiver wire. And our friend Alex from The Athletic, creator of the Dynasty Trade Values Charts, is going to be joining us on the show later today. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Surely. Kickers never retire, I think. They just continue playing for all eternity. Like, there's only ever been 30 NFL kickers.
Yeah, they're always readily available too, it seems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just get called up. They're like, you kicked for us 10 years ago, right? Why don't you
run it back? That's right.
I imagine
Graham
every
Gano,
single kicker that gets the call is on a high school football field somewhere just practicing field goals after hours. Like it's like 9 p.m. and they're out there just at the local high school kicking field goals, and the phone rings. They get a call and they're like, yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing with it.
I have an amazing kicker story if you guys have a second.
I got a couple.
The number 1 all-time field goal kicker is Adam Vinatieri. The next 2 guys are Morton and Gary Anderson, right? Gary Anderson was a dude from like South Africa that just played rugby and soccer. He just could absolutely boot the ball, right? They bring him over and he does like a tryout and he's just absolutely crushing the ball. And all these colleges are like, dude, we want you to come kick field goals for us. And he goes, I don't even want to play football. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, so if I can come to your school and play soccer, I'll also, in the fall, I'll kick for the football team. And Syracuse was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you're on the soccer team. Like, come on. And he went to Syracuse to play soccer, but also kick field goals. And then he ended up being a top 3 point scorer in the NFL all the time.
That's ridiculous.
And his answer to recruiters was, I don't want to play football. I'll do it in my spare time.
Yeah. He's like, you got a spot for me on the soccer team. Syracuse is like, yeah, we got a spot for you.
We don't even care about our soccer team.
We don't even care.
We totally have that spot.
Right? They had to like cobble together a soccer team. Like, yeah, this guy's the captain.
Oh my God. It's like Accepted, the movie, but they just like had to throw together a whole fake soccer team.
Somehow they still got Justin Long.
Right, yeah. Like, Adam Sandler's the coach. And dude, it's imagine they win the national championship. Like, that's a movie, dog. Yeah.
Boom!
Someone call up Disney. Yeah, we just wrote a movie for you, Disney. This has Disney sports movie written all over. I'm borderline crying right here just thinking about this movie right now.
Dude, the story gets even crazier. Like I should have looked it up again, but like it was like a high school coach that went and found him, and then that high school coach ended up being somebody crazy famous that like coached for the Rams.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Better Sports Network.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network. We are getting into our first game of the day. We're going to be playing some Fantasy Detectives Week 1 edition. So they're all going to be facts or stats about the players from Week 1. Coop and JL, you guys ready to play some Fantasy Detectives?
Yeah, so ready.
Oh, mark it down, dude.
Damn
Although
it.
I did one yesterday, so
Man, guys. Rough life, JL. Rough life figuring out that button over there, isn't it?
It's too tough.
I
It's
think
too
it's-
hard.
I think it starts you with a score of -1, if I'm not mistaken, in
Damn
this
it.
game. But you
I
can
think
earn
that's
it back, no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem, Jail. You're the king of earning points on this show, so that shouldn't be a problem for you at all. The game.
What does that make
fantasy-
me, like the intergalactic emperor of earning points? King is dope though.
It's cool. That's cute.
You're pretty good over there, Jail. You got your little kingdom. Coop just rules the universe. Fantasy
about right.
Detectives is a game where I'm going to reveal pieces of information about a player to you. You guys have to try to guess who that player is based on the information revealed. You'll each get a guess after each fact given, and then we'll move on to the next fact if neither one of you gets it. Or if you both want to pass, that's fine too. But why would you pass? You can take a shot at it. Maybe you get lucky. Coop, you were a little bit too good at this game last time. You were pulling some great guesses from the beginning. So we'll see if JL can turn the tables on you this time. JL, would you like to go first or second on this first Fantasy Detective?
I would like to go first.
You would like to go first. Okay. Here is the first clue. I wasn't sacked at all in Week 1. And that word was one, the one that I said incorrectly, Week 1. I wasn't sacked at all in Week 1.
I wasn't sacked at all in Week 1.
Wasn't Mac
Ooh.
Jones.
I will go with Patrick Mahomes.
JL, it is Patrick
Oh my
Mahomes.
God.
You are
Are you
absolutely
serious, bro?
correct with the point.
The king is
early.
back.
0. Let's go.
JL,
Back
and
to
I'm gonna
zero.
give you 2 points for getting that one so easily off of no
Woo.
sack. So that minus points get gone away. You're just sitting at a solid 1. The rest of the stats, since we didn't get to them, was had a completion rate of 76.9%, and the longest run I made was 4 yards. Is Patrick
Was 4
Mahomes back,
yards?
baby? I know people were talking about him being down with Tyreek Hill gone. Are your any worries you had for Patrick Mahomes? Are they assuaged, however you pronounce that
Assuaged.
word?
Assuaged.
Yeah, they've been assuaged.
How
How
do you say that word? Is it assuaged or
it's
assuaged?
Assuaged.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So
Didn't I just tell you this?
Jail. I can't. Yeah, you
Did
probably
we have
did.
the same conversation
Yeah, and I can't remember.
every day.
every day? Yeah, assuaged.
I call you at 4 a.m. I actually wake up at 4 a.m. every day, and I'm like, is it assuaged or assuaged?
I need to know. I need to know. Can't remember.
The sweating, staring at the ceiling. What
Tommy
is
said,
it?
"Don't you ever learn, Simon?
Tell me.
Come on.
Some things, no. I choose what to learn from, and other things, I just continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again in perpetuity
bad.
for the rest of my life.
Why does that read so like menacing in the chat?
Don't you ever
Don't you
learn.
ever learn, Simon?
Sounds like it's something like the arch villain says before he starts lowering you into like a little pit of lava.
Don't you ever?
Don't
learn.
you ever learn, Simon?
So what are we talking about? Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes,
So-
are you happy?
Yeah, I will say, dude, Patrick Mahomes is like the one dude who, like, they've managed to take all the rushing touchdowns and convert them into passing touchdowns via that cheating little shovel pass play that they run over there.
Yeah,
Whether
they
it's
love that little
Oh,
guy.
Kelsey or, everybody. It's like, but I mean, dude, that's how you throw 50 touchdown passes, right? If you just take all the running plays and turn them into shovel pass touchdowns,
Yeah.
which he's done before. So Patrick Mahomes definitely quashed a lot of the rumors about him not being worth whatever it was, QB 3 or 4 that he was going for, because he crushed yesterday, and he kind of told us before the season that he's like, I can throw it at anybody, and then he did.
Yeah, I was saying this all last season whenever people were so upset that Patrick Mahomes wasn't, oh, is Patrick Mahomes washed now? Because he has like 3 bad games. No, you don't just lose that kind of talent. 5 touchdowns. That is the Patrick Mahomes that we all know and love.
You can just lose that kind of talent, but not when you're 27 years old and you didn't get a serious injury, however the hell old Patrick Mahomes is, right? Like we saw Peyton Manning go from like one season to the next where it was just like, oh, he doesn't have it anymore. Like it is gone in his last season over there. But you're right. Like with Patrick Mahomes, come on. Like he's literally whenever we're talking the best active player in the NFL, maybe the best quarterback in the NFL, you have to bring his name up, right? Like he's a name that you have to consider. That's not just going to go away overnight. And it's not like he doesn't have any receiving weapons. I know they got rid of Tyreek Hill, but Juju Smith-Schuster's still a dude, a highly talented dude, a dude that, again, we talk about DK Metcalf like being one of the players that was wildly or was ranked way higher in Dynasty a couple years ago. Juju Smith-Schuster was that same guy where there was a time period where we talked about him as a top 5 Dynasty wide receiver, right? After the big season with the Steelers, Antonio Brown leaving. But yeah, I'm in on Patrick Mahomes. Jordan said the answer to Juju, MVS, or Sky Moore is CEH. Is CEH had those 2 touchdowns? Coop, are you buying in on CEH rest of season? Do you think he's going to continue to be used this way?
Wide receiver 1, dude. No, I mean, I think that in situations like that, like you can count on one of those plays for sure earned, but those counter shovel passes, like that's more of a gimmick gadgety type play. It's not like they handed him the ball at the 5-yard line and it was just 5 yards in a cloud of dust. Like that play, they can pick anybody to score that. So, but yeah, we go. Jordan Loop, Coop, grow up. Dude, you grow up.
Coop, grow up.
Yeah, I was just arguing with the chat. That makes for good radio. So I honestly, I'm going to start him everywhere I have him, just because they didn't even use Isaiah Pacheco really until the game was in garbage time. So, and this week when they play the Chargers, probably not going to get into garbage time super early at the very least. Chargers are kind of a different opponent. So I'm excited to see what it looks like.
And
Great
Tommy,
game on
and you're
Thursday.
saying he's going to be in trouble tomorrow with Bosa and Mack. It's not going to feel the same as that Cardinals horrible D-line. Jell, you think this game feels a little different with Bosa and Mack on the other side of Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you get a better defense in there. Of course, he's not going to have 5 touchdowns, almost 35 fantasy points every week.
I feel like now that you said that, he heard you, Jell, and he's going to be like, watch me.
I would love that. I would love that.
every
My
week.
dynasty teams would love that.
5 touchdowns minimum
Every game.
He said Peyton threw 7. I'll throw 8. I got you. No problem right there. That would be
done.
To see someone break Peyton's single game record would be insane though. Like I can hardly imagine 8 touchdown passes in a single game.
I didn't know 8 was the record.
7's the record, right?
7's the record.
It's completely unnecessary to throw 8 touchdown passes. Like what's situation? The other quarterback needs to throw like 6 for it to even be. You know what I mean? Like you're not just gonna dunk on these guys. Like I mean, I guess
continually keep scoring.
Like the worst whooping I think I've personally like witnessed was with the Patriots. One time the Titans came up and it snowed like way too early in the season, and the Titans had to play in New England against Tom Brady, and they won like 55 to 0, 55-7. And even in that game, like 55 points, that's less than 8 touchdowns. Like you have to be so mean to throw 8 touchdown passes, I feel like, right?
Yeah, it's bullying at that point. Or like maybe the Buccaneers get knocked out of the playoffs in some freak scenario, and they're like, well, Peyton or Tom, we can't get you your last Super Bowl, but we can get you Peyton's single game touchdown record. Know what I mean? Like it's a little consolation prize before you retire. Like if unless it's like proving a point or something like that, there's no reason to do it. JL, you've got a 1-point lead in our game of Fantasy Detective after that one. Coop's going to get to go first in round 2. Coop, are you ready?
Uh-oh.
I said yeah.
You ready? Here
Did
we
it
go.
not pick up?
Here is your second prompt. I scored 26 points in standard scoring league. So sorry, not standard as in non-PPR, but standard as in typical scoring for this position. I scored 26 points in week 1.
26 points in week 1. That's quite a few points. Is it in standard? Is it was it Justin Jefferson?
It was not Justin Jefferson. JL, do you have a guess?
Was it Pittman?
It was not Pittman. Are you ready for the next clue?
Yeah.
Yes.
I scored
Give me
2 touchdowns.
2. Was it? I went through this list mentally yesterday.
You did. Trying to think of who you even mentioned.
It's going to be Coop.
It's gonna be a play. It's gonna be a player, a professional. Plays in either the NFC or AFC. Definitely not stalling. It's going to be Kareem Hunt.
Incorrect. I apologize. Bonk.
I got meat bonked. Are we doing every game is now meat bonk?
Every
Beat
game.
bonk.
JL, do you have a guess?
I want to go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Wrong. It is not Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No double
What was that?
Chiefs right here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Edwards, you know? It's just the name I struggle with. There's some emotional pain attached to the name Edward. I try to skip over it every time I say his name. My elementary school bully used to call me Edward. His name wasn't Edward. Yeah, his name wasn't Edward. He would just call me Edward all the time.
That's hilarious.
You ready for the next clue?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready, Edward.
I wasn't sacked or tackled for a loss.
Oh, sounds like it might be. I mean, it could still technically be a wide receiver, but imagine in that case it would be one of the quarterbacks.
What you thinking, Coop?
I think it might be Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is incorrect. JL, what about you?
I think it might be. Could it be?
It could if I knew what you were gonna guess.
Oh, I don't know.
You can pass if you want, JL.
I don't want to pass. I'll go with Justin Herbert.
Incorrect. Another clue, they were the top scoring at that position this weekend.
Oh, they were.
Or for week 1. So with 26 points, 2 touchdowns, top scoring at the position. Coop, do you have a guess?
26 points.
Top scoring at the position.
It's got to be the top scoring quarterback, and which I for some reason don't know.
Can't be.
But could it? You said he only scored 2 touchdowns?
2 touchdowns.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. All of this is true.
All right. Was it Josh Allen?
It was not Josh Allen. JL, do you have a guess?
Was it Saquon Barkley?
It was not Saquon Barkley. I'm going to give you one more clue. If you don't get it, then we're moving on. This player could not be started in a super flex spot on your roster.
Okay. So not a quarterback. Explains the no sacks. It will make some no sacks kind of a not good hint, but also didn't get tackled for a loss.
Who also
And I
had 2
said
touchdowns.
And I said could not be started in a super flex spot, just to clarify, in that super flex. So any players that could be put in that super flex spot, not just quarterback, it is not that player.
Oh, right.
What are you thinking, Coop?
So wait, so could not be started at Superflex. Wait. So it could be
The
a
chat,
quarterback?
I'm seeing all these answers in the chat. Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams, Wes Welker, Barkley, CEH, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, OJ Howard, Kelsey, Mariota. You're all wrong. Every single one of you is incorrect.
Oh,
Seems like
dude, is this
a good prompt.
was it the Dolphins defense?
It was not the Dolphins defense, Coop. JL, do you have a guess?
No. I pass. I have
JL,
no idea.
I'm almost positive you were about to say the correct answer. The Steelers defense. You started with the noise right there. Is that what you were about to say?
I was going to say that, yeah.
Well, the Steelers defense was absolutely correct in this one. Tricky Keith put together one for the defense Keith. Right there. That's sneaky putting a defensive one in there. So no one gets a point there. JL keeps his lead. And I believe we had a question from Lucius in the chat before we move on to the next round. Lucius in here said, love this show. Well, thank you, Lucius. He said, I was wondering if you prefer to stream defenses or having one you keep. Example, I have the Colts defense, but Bengals are available. Thanks in advance. JL, what's your general strategy with team defenses?
I'm all about that streaming defense life, Lucius. I am typically going to play matchups with defense. So whichever defense has the best matchup, I'm usually going with that week. Outside of that, there are usually a few key defenses that are at the top of the rankings where matchup doesn't matter as much. But unless you get one of those teams, I'm fine just streaming.
Early in the season, I do my best to try and set myself up to have one defense. So the Colts defense is one that I was drafting in a lot of leagues. Colts and Saints, for instance, are teams that I thought would have good defenses, and both those teams don't have a bye week till week 14. So for me personally, I'm sitting there with the Colts, and I'm just crossing my fingers, hoping that the Colts defense just starts being awesome. Stephon Gilmore starts doing cool stuff. They're going to get Shaq Leonard back, which they didn't have him last week. Probably their best defensive player. But I guess the defensive player of the year, Stephon Gilmore, probably is the best defensive player, but it speaks to how many good players they have. So I'm honestly where I have the Colts, I just have them set it and forget it. If my team starts losing and if the Colts aren't who I think they are, then I'll dive into streaming. But I'm keeping the dream alive of not having to pick up a different defense until week 14. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. I think with defense, the reason I prefer to stream is there's maybe one each year defense that I consider matchup proof, like truly matchup proof, where I would start them against anybody. And I'm not drafting a defense early enough usually to get that team. Not that it's wildly predictable. Sometimes teams come out of nowhere. The defensive strengths can change drastically from season to season, but I'm usually streaming. I'm with you, JL, on that one. We had another question in the chat here. Brendan, a trade, wanted to know Sutton and ETN for Diggs. Coop, are you willing to make that move? Cortland Sutton and Travis Etienne for Stephon Diggs?
With those, I'm almost always a fan of 2-for-1s. So I can consolidate my lineup, especially if it's like, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. So as long as you feel like you're upgrading your starting lineup, then do it. And a lot of people, based on who they have, Sutton and ETN might not even be starters for their team. So
they've got Nick Chubb and Breece Hall as their other 2 main running backs, with Darrell Henderson and JD McKissick in there as well. And the wide receivers are a little bit grosser. They've got but they'd get an upgrade with Sutton, right? Over to Diggs. So it's okay. Kupp, Sutton, Woods, Myers, McKenzie, Gallup, but they're getting that Diggs upgrade. So that's the rest of their team.
Henderson played like 50 snaps, 40 of which were pass plays, and K-Makers played 12. So I might actually be starting Henderson anyway. Like I might have Chubb I might have Henderson as my RB2 this week anyway. So I think I would go ahead and do that and just lock in Stephon Diggs. Having Kupp and Diggs, you're going to be in a power position, bro. Yeah.
That's your teammates are going to log in, look at their matchup, and go, "What the hell?" Just like every time they see Kupp and Diggs as your top 2 wide receivers. Was Lucius a Keith Plant because he put the defense in our game, and then he just wanted to make sure we were answering a defense question as well? Like
Maybe.
validate the defense being picked right there.
Could be.
I think so over there.
Maria said JL taught me to stream defenses, and it's always worked out decently. That's true. That's true facts.
We are going to finish.
Usually we don't support compliments for JL in the chat, but we don't. This one.
Today we will.
Usually we have those removed, but we will allow this one. But just know that you're on notice.
Only because you said worked out decently. It wasn't too big of a compliment.
Yeah,
it was
just
like
okay.
The advice went all right. We're going to finish up our game of Fantasy Detective shortly and then play some hypothetically and talk player props a little bit later. And then towards the end of the show, our friend Alex from The Athletic and creator of the Trade Values Charts is joining us on the show as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network.
Kyler Murray is a petulant child.
Yeah, well, he didn't have Rondale Moore, and I'm sure he probably mentioned that to someone as an excuse. Go.
Yeah, no, he didn't have Rondale Moore, didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. It doesn't make a difference, bro. This dude right here, listen, you don't want to study your playbook, and it shows. This guy can't run this offense, you know what I'm saying? He needs DeAndre Hopkins out there or somebody because of the fact that it's like once you watch him on tape, if you keep him in the pocket, that guy's a pitiful quarterback. Doesn't do a good job at all. Could not move that offense yesterday. He kind of reminds me of like say if I was to go someplace and tell my son, hey, when I come back, I need this place cleaned up. And then I come back, it's potato chips all over the floor, and you sitting here playing the video game. See, that's what Kyler Murray reminds me of. And then he comes in here and he has the audacity to threaten the organization. Oh, I'll go and I'll whitewash my Instagram and I'll take my talents out. Go play for the Oakland A's. Go play for that team that's playing that empty stadium. Please go play for them. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals, so we can get a decent quarterback in here and know what he's doing. That's a leader that respects his teammates. Because that guy is not Kyler Murray. It's not Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's not that good, bro. He could be a decent fantasy option because he runs around and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You can do that. But as a leader of men, Kyler Murray ain't it. He's not hitting on nothing.
What do they say, man? Leaders eat last? Lieutenants eat last? What's that saying?
Yeah, Kyler Murray would be the first one on the child line.
Pushing kids out of the way.
Pushing kids out the way with an Oakland A's hat on. So I'm going to go play for the Oakland A's. Go sit up in that empty stadium. Be my guest.
Oh, he wouldn't even make. I don't even know if he's good enough to make the A's.
Yeah,
I mean, what are you doing? Oh, hey, I took 8 years off of baseball, but I'm gonna I'm gonna show up and play for the Oakland A's.
He probably show up to the Oakland A's with the Arizona Cardinals hat on.
I've had enough of this. I've had enough. Whitewash my Instagram with Oakland A's.
I'm done with him. I'm done with Kyler Murray. I'm glad I don't have him on no fantasy teams. And like I said, it's not that he is not a bad fantasy option, but he's not a good professional quarterback.
That's good. What position does he play in baseball? It seems like an outfielder, right? Kyler Murray's a shortstop.
Maybe, I don't know.
What if
he probably is an outfielder. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever he is, I can know what he's not. He's not a quarterback. That's what he's not.
Oh, let's make him a wide receiver.
He probably can't do that either.
That's he wasn't out. He is an outfielder. Was an outfielder. Could be future outfielder.
Go let him roam the outfield for the A's in that big empty stadium.
I'm glad we both see this. It's interesting.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk. Sports talk done better.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network. Lucius, I wanted to give you a shout out. He came in and gave us $2 over on that YouTube channel. Appreciate you coming in. US dollars. We got to clarify. Sometimes we get those Canadian dollars over there.
True.
Lucius, you're the man.
You're the man, Lucius.
The man. And great question. I love the kind of like meta strategy questions, right? Like the ones that aren't just specific, because that's evergreen knowledge right there. That's stuff that you can continue to use, continue to implement. Start sits are fun. We make those decisions every week, but the ones that are kind of about like fantasy football strategy, that's my favorite part of this game. That's the reason why I play.
It's easier not to be wrong. You know what I mean? When you're talking general strategy versus like, you know, they come back next week and they're like, dude, you told me to start Keenan
Allen over Pat Fryermuth.
yeah, definitely ask us strategy. Ask us about week 15 matchups. Give us a little time.
Or about rookie tight ends in 3 years. That's another topic that I love talking about as well.
Perfect. Yeah. Go ahead, Chigon Konkwu. And so let's see if he plays in 5 years.
Coop, it looks like Craig came in here throwing some shade at you, calling you out on your rule that you made yourself.
Yeah, he says, you started the show with complimenting JL's looks. I said no JL compliments in the chat. If you want to come on the show and compliment JL, hit that chat button now. Call in. We'll put you on air. You can say nice things to JL. You can say mean
I love
things.
This segment.
You can say mean things to our host.
Make it
Edward.
regular.
Our
host Edward.
Taking me back to 4th grade.
Is he here? Is he here?
Dad?
All of a sudden, he just calls in. He's like, well, Edward, it's been quite some time.
Imagine, dude, watching this show. That'd be awesome, dude. Let's see if we can get all your old bullies on the hook, dude.
Your pants are looking mighty unwedged. Might need to fix that.
You still wearing those husky jeans, Edward?
Edward?
Also, we got Jolly
Picking your
Rancher
nose,
in the
Edward?
chat saying JL is precious. In the
Not in the
chat.
chat.
Not in the chat. You got to come
Not
on air
in
to
the chat.
compliment
You gotta come
JL.
on air. Get that out of
Tommy
here.
said, don't you ever learn, Edward.
Tommy's such a bully, dude.
Tommy's
He
such
sent
a
me
freak,
three
man.
mean emails over the last week, dude. 2 of them were just pictures of Blitz.
Guys, after that last round, the score is 1-0 in JL's favor. We're going to do 2 more rounds of Fantasy Detective, see if we can't get a winner here today. JL, you've got the first guess on this one after Coop just dropped the ball on the one where he had the first guess. You ready for the next round?
I'm ready.
Yeah, Coop, you should have had that one.
You said it was a player that didn't get sacked, and it was the Steelers defense. Okay,
Clear trickery.
Idiot. Was the defense sacked?
I don't think they were. No.
So I mean, everything stands true. Joe, here's your first clue for this one. I'm a running back.
Good.
Great clue. Fantastic. Right on par with the other clues. I'll go DeAndre Swift.
That is incorrect. Great guess, though. Coop, where are you going?
I'm gonna go with why am I even thinking so hard about this? I'll go with
Which running back could it be?
Yeah, I'll go with Thurman Thomas.
Sorry, Thurman Thomas is incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Your next
job.
clue
I guess I need another clue to try and get
more.
this one.
This one should probably get it. In week 1, I rushed 13 times.
It's not Thurman Thomas.
13 times. It's me again?
It's you again, JL. You got first vote in this round.
Oh, rats. Who rushed 13 times? That seems pretty specific. I'll go with Kareem Hunt.
Incorrect. It is not Kareem Hunt. Coop?
Seems like a pretty average number of carries for a player to have. Was Dalvin Cook?
It was not Dalvin Cook. Your next clue is I scored 1 touchdown in week 1.
Oh, I know this is actually now.
JL?
I think I do.
Is it AJ Dillon?
Knows. It is not AJ Dillon. I'm sorry, Coop. We'll find out if you know. Who do you think it is?
Was it Miles Sanders?
It is Miles Sanders.
I knew it, right? Yeah, because I was just looking at it yesterday. I was like, how is the dude going to get 7 yards of carry and you just don't keep giving him more carries, right?
Hasn't it been the Miles Sanders story the entire time? Like every time he touches
Miles
the ball,
Sanders story.
he's the 7 yards per carry guy, and then they're just like, nah, Boston Scott.
The water bearer, right? Like, and the thing is, he did score a touchdown, but normally if your team scores 4 rushing touchdowns and you're the starting running back, then you get
like 2 of them.
You get at least 2, right? JL, like, what the heck, man? Come on.
Just absurd. The other clues for this one were I had 2 catches for 9 yards and I had a yards per carry of 7.4. Yeah, I think that last one would have given it away right there. He was a heavy yards per carry guy in week 1. Coop, that's going to tie it up. We've got one more round. You're going first in this one. Yeah.
How's your starting running back run for 7.4 yards a carry and you only beat the Lions by 3? Like 7.4 yards a carry?
Yeah, maybe because he only got 13 carries. Maybe they should have worked him in a little bit more. Like 7.4 times 13, 7.4 times 25 is a much higher number. That would have been more offensive yards for that team right there.
Probably win by more than 3.
But there were plenty of points scored in this game, right? It's not like the Eagles were struggling for points scored. What was the final score there? Like
38-35.
38-35.
Like Javonte Williams and maybe Melvin Gordon had probably just pretty high yards per carry as well. They lost to the Seahawks.
They were like 4.8 and 5.6, if I remember correctly. Melvin Gordon slightly below 5, and then Javonte Williams a little bit above 5 as well. In that 5.5 range.
Those dudes should have both had rushing touchdowns. They fumbled on the 2-yard line. Both of them did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess that's the difference maker. If all your running backs score all their touchdowns, the way the Eagles did, you win. And if all your running backs fumble the game away, then you lose. That seems, that's kind of how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what?
Second blitz. You just won on a techtechnically.
As much as the decision for Hackett sucked to kick that field goal at the end, you're right, Coop. Like those 2 touchdowns, those were touchdowns. Those were literally touchdowns right there for the Broncos that they just threw away twice in a row out. That was awful. We've got one more round, Coop. You've got the first guess here, and here's your first clue. I carried the ball 22 times in week 1.
Cordero Patterson.
Incorrect.
No.
What? It's not incorrect. Cordero Patterson.
How many players had 22 carries?
I know. I knew that number exactly.
At least 2.
Me and JL are disputing this. We're disputing this. We both say Cordero Patterson is the answer.
Who had a lot of carries? Nick Chubb.
JL, that is correct. You are the winner of Fantasy Detective. It is your first Fantasy Detective. No, your first game victory on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. I never want to lose again.
The king has returned.
King has returned. Sitting below the Emperor, Galactic Supreme.
Play. Do we have any Lion King drops we can play there?
Roll the Lion King drops.
Why don't you have on-demand Lion King drops? You're fired again.
Brendan in here wants to ask, Younghoe Koo, league winner? Is Younghoe Koo a league winner at the kicker position?
I would go as far as to say probably not.
Probably not. But he did have a pretty nice outing there in the Falcons-Saints game this past weekend. With Nick Chubb, he got 22 carries this weekend. Kareem Hunt got the 2 touchdowns. Is this just the player that we thought he was? He's like the upside is limited because he's not going to be as involved in the receiving game, but great on the ground.
I took a look at the snaps yesterday. They shook out exactly as you would imagine. Nick Chubb played the vast majority of the running downs, and Kareem Hunt played double the pass snaps. That's just the way that it goes.
Yeah. Do you have any concern for Nick Chubb rest of season, or did you see enough from this Browns offense that you think he's going to be fine, good to go?
I think both players, if you layer you draft, they were exactly what you drafted them to be. Like, you knew what Nick Chubb was going to do. You knew what Kareem Hunt was going to do. If one of them gets hurt, the other one becomes awesome. So as of right now, I'm not sure what. You can't be disappointed with the guy being exactly who you thought he was going to be, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. You can't be too disappointed. If anything, it was nice to see the offense move a little bit. I know it was against the Panthers, but there were nerves about whether or not this Cleveland Brown offense was going to work with Jacoby Brissett under center. But it looks like it's working at least a little bit. Dustin in the chat said he loved your Thurman Thomas name drop, Coop.
I thought that was the answer, but then I remembered that Thurman Thomas didn't play week 1, so probably wasn't going to match the theme of this game. But, we learn, we move forward, right?
We absolutely move forward. As it looks like we have someone calling in here. Maria, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Maria, why are you calling in this morning? What brings you on air at the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show?
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
I heard that you had to call in to give a compliment. Is this true?
That is true.
We will ban you from the chat if you try to give a compliment to JL down there.
Okay, I just wanted to say congratulations on your first Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show game win.
Yeah. That's how you do it, Chad. That is how you do it right there.
Well done.
That is how you do it. Thank you.
Nice
Thank you
job,
very much.
JL. It only took you 2.5 weeks, but you got there. Your job's
Strong,
safe.
though.
And in return for that compliment, I will clean the bathroom and do the dishes.
Now
What
we
a
know
win.
what everyone wins, right, Maria?
Yeah, everybody
This is
wins.
the best morning show I've ever listened to.
Oh, and Jolly
Yes.
Ranchers got
Stop
the
it.
got the deal in the chat. Done with the JL compliments. JL, you're not precious anymore. Maria is precious now.
Yes, yes.
Maria compliments
praise goes to
are
Maria.
allowed and encouraged in the chat. So
Yes.
those are encouraged, not JL ones.
Nope. Just Maria once.
Or any of those.
Much
Really.
appreciated, gentlemen.
Every Maria compliment in the chat will ban someone else of your choosing. So you get to pick who to ban. JL slander or JL
Ooh.
compliments, you're going to get banned in the
And
chat.
Tommy.
And then don't ban Tommy. Don't ban
Someone
Tommy.
ban
I'll
Tommy.
miss him.
Smash that fun button for Maria. Let's go. Let's get
Let's
fired up this
go.
morning.
Smash that fun button.
I love you guys. Have a great day.
We'll
love
do.
you.
You too
You
as
as
well,
well.
Maria. You as well.
She's an angel.
We're gonna be talking some player props coming up after this, and then playing one of our favorite games. Hypothetically, there might be some players sitting on your waiver wire after waivers ran today that are still worth a pickup. We're gonna give you those names. And then Alex Korf of The Athletic and the creator of the Trade Values Charts, aka Peaked in High School, is going to be coming on with us to talk some Week 2 trades. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
I gotta tell this story, okay? So we're out in Canton, Ohio, and we decide to go eat late at night, like after midnight. We decide to go to the Waffle House. Somehow, Fensty's never been there, even though he lives near it. I'm in New York, New Jersey. There's no Waffle House close by. So if you go to the Waffle House, what are you gonna eat more than likely? Pancakes, waffles, eggs, and all that, right? So of course, our guy Rich, he gets breakfast, I get breakfast, Fensty doesn't. He's never been to a Waffle House. How do you not have waffles? Like, it makes no sense.
Dude, there's a time for
I eat
waffles.
breakfast at midnight. Come on, man.
That's the thing. I didn't want breakfast, man. I got like, what was it, like a cheesesteak sandwich or something like that?
That's like someone who has never been to IHOP going there and ordering a burger. Who does that?
That I wouldn't do. That I would not.
That's
first
the
of all, I wouldn't
equivalent of what you did. Well, I don't even know what you had.
I got this steak sandwich, which was
Steak
excellent, by
sandwich
the way.
at the Waffle House. Never been there, and that's what you get. You're an odd guy, man. You're an
I'm
odd
not
guy.
an odd guy. I
Yes,
didn't
you
want
are.
breakfast.
Can we get a vote? Can we get a vote in the chat, please? I mean, if you've never been to Waffle House and you get a steak wrap, something's wrong with you, right? Don't you have to get waffles and eggs and bacon and all that? It's the Waffle House.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It was my first time, okay? Ordering the hash browns was already complicated enough. Smothered and covered, and it's almost like it's crazy how much combinations you can have. And I know that everybody's killing me for it right now. And no, to our producers, I don't get pasta at a
he does.
steakhouse or anything like that.
Chicken
No, I
Alfredo, that's what he gets at the
Bro,
steakhouse.
do you follow me on Instagram? I'm
No.
always on that grill. You know how much I love steak. Why would I go to a steakhouse and get pasta?
Because you go to Waffle House to get steak wraps, that's why.
I didn't know it was all waffles, bro. I thought it had like a little bit of everything. That's why, you know. I didn't realize they were famous for waffles. Hey, look, you know,
The name of the place is the Waffle House. What else would they be famous for?
you know what? That's fine. I guess it's a hot take getting a steak sandwich. As long as it was good, I housed that
Well,
thing in 10 seconds.
okay, you were never there, and that's the first time. You're not going to try a waffle? Do you admit it was a mistake?
I don't really like waffle.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network. And man, I think one of my favorite sentences ever is said during that promo, like, bro, I didn't know it was all waffles. Like what other situation do you say that? I didn't know it was all waffles. Like, imagine showing up somewhere, you walk into a party and you're like, I had no idea this was all waffles.
I did not know it was a waffle party.
Fensty and Ronas, dude. Those are my fantasy alarm brothers there. Make sure you check those guys out. I think they're on, what time are they on?
A little bit later. A
5
little
to
bit later,
7.
I can pull that up.
5 to 7, I think.
It was just up there
Yeah,
on the
those
screen,
guys-
but I didn't read the words this early in the morning. If you're listening to this show, make sure you guys are sticking around here on the Better Sports Network all day, because today we're giving away 2 boxes of Topps baseball cards at 4 p.m. Eastern. Listen to Moose and Keith at 10 a.m. Eastern time and Lunch Money at noon Eastern for your chance to win a 2021 Chrome Platinum box or a box of 2022 Topps Fire cards. Full box. Download the Better Sports Network app, listen live, and get in the game. One lucky person is going to win a Derek Jeter rookie card during Corey Nando and Friends between 4 and 5 Eastern, courtesy of Topps and Better Sports Network. And you got to be 18 or over to play. So if you're under 18 out here, sorry, you're not eligible for that sick Derek Jeter rookie card. I know some people who would be hyped about getting a Derek Jeter rookie card. That's a lot of people's favorite player. That's
I know
awesome
some people
right there.
under 18 years old.
And JL knows some people under 18 years old who can't win the Derek Jeter rookie card.
Yeah, all my nieces and nephews are gonna be sad.
Every single one of them, just they're not going to be able to win that segment right there. I wanted to talk some player props for this upcoming week with you guys, and I thought we'd make it a little game. I'm going to keep track of what each of us picks on all of these, and then next week, before we jump into player props, we can take a rundown and see how we did. Keep a running track record. Who has the better track record whenever we're picking through these? You guys ready for that first one?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. The one moment. That first player prop that I wanted to talk to you about. This is one of those special ones. It is either Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert to throw 4+ passing touchdowns, and this is at plus 150. So plus 150 in this game for Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert to throw 4+ passing touchdowns.
Wow, that's interesting. This is not one I would bet, actually. I would bet it if the line was higher, but plus 150 doesn't feel high enough for a 4-touchdown game. 4-touchdown games are fairly rare, honestly. And when you got guys like Austin Eckler and CH, sometimes you just run it. I think I would take the under on this. That's what we're doing. We're picking whether over under.
No, this one is just you can bet on this or not. There is no over under. It's just this is like one of the special ones where it's either Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert to throw 4+ passing touchdowns.
So then I would pick not bet it or bet it.
Yep.
I think I would not bet that. It's just not high enough line.
JL, do you agree with Coop that this isn't a high enough line for you to throw some money on 4+ passing touchdowns for either Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert? You get both quarterbacks in this one.
Yeah, either one. I don't know. It's just 4 seems like a lot. So I'm going to not take this one.
Yeah, maybe if there was some more juice on it, I'd be willing to take this one, but plus 150 isn't nearly enough to predict a 4-touchdown game. I know we're expecting a high-scoring game on this one. I just can't do it. I can't do it. What is the line for this game on Thursday night? Or let's see. What do we got for the line on Thursday night in this Chargers game? It's set at 54.5 points. So they are expecting this to be a high-scoring game. So maybe it is the game where you think you can get 4+ passing touchdowns out of one of these quarterbacks, but I'm not taking it. Sounds like we're all on the negative side of that one. What about this next one, guys? We've got either Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey to have 150+ scrimmage yards this weekend.
JL, you're first on this one.
Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey to have 150+ scrimmage yards. Oh, I'm not going to take this one either.
Oh, and this one is I'll give you the juice on this one as well. It's at plus 150 also. So both of these are plus 150.
Giants are playing
The
Carolina
Panthers.
and they're okay. They're just playing each other. I
And
see
the
what you did
Panthers
here.
are playing
That makes
and
sense.
the Giants.
With the last one.
Giants.
You know what? I will take this one. Oh,
that's annoying because I was gonna take it and I was hoping you wouldn't take it.
No, I'm gonna take it.
Way to go, dude. Well, then I will continue to take it. I won't flip flop on my
Wow,
answer.
what a copycat!
I won't flip flop like a Waffle House waffle over here, and I will take
delicious.
I will take the line there. I think it's a lot more reasonable, especially the way these guys are playing and their pass catching ability. For 150 yards from guys like this, it doesn't always look the way you think it does. Like, you don't even need to have a 100-yard rushing game when you're Christian McCaffrey. Like, so a lot of times, like, he'll have like 90 yards receiving, and then you only need like 60 yards rushing or whatever. So I'm gonna take it. Simon, what are you thinking?
They got to get Christian McCaffrey more involved in the receiving game, right? Or he just has to be more used in this next game than he was in that previous game. But I'm gonna not take this one. Again, 150 scrimmage yards is quite a bit. I'll take the under on this, or it's not an under, but I'm just going to not put my money on this one. Again, it's at plus 150. 150 scrimmage yards is pretty rough, but it's definitely doable. It's in the range of outcomes, but I'm not going to take it at plus 150. We'll do one more of these special ones. We've got either Michael Pittman Jr. or Christian Kirk to have 100+ receiving yards this week. So either Michael Pittman Jr. or Christian Kirk to have 100+ receiving yards. And you guessed it, the Colts are playing the Jaguars. So that's their matchup. They're playing against each other. Do you like either of these players to have 100 receiving yards in week 2? Coop? Or I guess I'll go first on this one. You guys each went first on the other ones. I'll take this one. I like Michael Pittman's odds to break 100 yards again. It looked like he was the only wide receiver that they could really get going there. They were trying to get a wide receiver 2 going. Alec Pierce will likely get more involved as the season goes on, but Michael Pittman over 100 receiving yards, I'll take it. And this one is at plus 175. I'm expecting it to be Michael Pittman, but throwing Christian Kirk in there gives you just another way that this bet could hit. I like this one.
I'm gonna take the under on this one. I think this one might be a low scoring game. Christian Kirk at times can be a low ADOT player and wouldn't be. He just barely cracked 100 and he got like 12 targets or a lot of targets this week. And the thing that people like, I'm still fully on board with Michael Pittman, but the thing that people might not realize about this past week is that the game script was crazy for the Colts. They ran 92 offensive plays. So might not necessarily be the case every week. And in fantasy, 80, 90 yards and a touchdown is still a good game for a guy like Michael Pittman. So I'm going to go under on this one in this week with
Coop
this match.
Not taking this one this week. Jail, what about you? Are you agreeing with me or are you agreeing with Coop?
I'm agreeing with you, Simon. I am taking this bet. I think either of these guys could hit that 100-yard mark again this week.
Yeah. We're going to switch it up a little bit here. I wanted to hit some over-unders from the Thursday night game. Some player props. Austin Eckler's receiving yards line is at 39.5 in this game going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Would you take the over or under on 39.5 yards for Austin Eckler's receiving yards?
Those over-unders are always deceptive, but I'm going to take the over. I think he gets involved here, especially with Keenan Allen out. If Keenan Allen isn't playing and Eckler only has 40 receiving yards, then do we expect Josh Palmer and Gerald Everett to have like 100-yard games? I mean, how do we get Justin Herbert to the 250 to 300 yards that we expect him to have? You know what I mean? Mike Williams can't have them all. So I expect Eckler to be more involved with Keenan Allen out with the hamstring. So give me the over on the Eckler number.
Jail, what about you?
I'm gonna take this one as well. What was the line again? It was 35.
The line was 39.5. So he would have to hit 40 to get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
You're going to take it. Man, this one's a little bit tough for me because it just makes sense. He did hit this more times than not last season. In the first game, he had close to this, didn't quite hit it in like the mid-30s for receiving yards. But Coop, I like your reasoning here. Like if Keenan Allen's out and Austin Eckler isn't seeing that volume, then what are the Chargers doing? They got to get him more involved in the receiving game. I'm going to take this one as well. So I think that's all three of us taking it, right? JL, you took it too?
Yep.
So we're all in agreement on that one. Now let's stick with the pass catchers. Are we going to keep taking the overs here? Mike Williams in this same game is set at 69.5 yards, so a little bit higher there. JL, do you like Mike Williams with Keenan Allen out at 69.5?
69.5. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I think this is going to be a bounce back week for Mike Williams with Keenan Allen unlikely to play. I think Mike Williams could be the featured guy here. And what was the line again? 60 what?
69.5.
69.5. Nice. Yeah, I think he'll hit that easily.
Coop, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm taking that one as well. I'm taking the over on that because, I mean, I believe in Justin Herbert. And again, where are the yards going to come from if they're not coming from these guys? You know, I mean,
right.
I mean, I'd be interested to see what a line for like a Josh Palmer might look like or somebody like that then if they don't think that, you know, he's going to have 70 yards. So give me the over.
I'm going to take the over on that one as well. I'm agreeing with you guys. It's got to be Mike Williams and Austin Eckler. And Coop, your wish is my command. That's the next one we can do. Josh Palmer set at 46.5 yards. So that line for Josh Palmer set at 46.5. Coop, are you taking the over on that one as well? Or is this where you say enough?
I think this is where I say enough. I do like Josh Palmer Dynasty. I'm pulling for him, but you know, it can be hard sometimes to jump right into that wide receiver 2 chair and start facing serious coverage. You know, like you go from being like the slot guy that comes in every once in a while, or the guy that comes in and then Keenan Allen moves to the slot. Like now he's going to be the de facto number 2 target. He could have a bit of a tough time facing the top corner. So I'll go under on Palmer.
Under on Palmer. I'm also going to take the under on Palmer. I think it's going to go through Mike Williams and Austin Eckler. Palmer will be the third guy. He might have a couple good catches, but that's where I'm going. JL, are you agreeing with us or are you taking the over on Palmer?
What is the over on what? What's the stat?
46.5 receiving yards for Josh Palmer.
46.5. I will take the under.
Man, we're all in agreement on all of these pass catching options from Los Angeles. And I see Better Boss in the chat saying the Palmer coming out party. So he probably doesn't like us all taking the under on him.
I'd like to see it. Did you guys ever hear the story on why they decided to draft him?
No.
Basically, they were looking for cornerbacks, right? So they were going through the tape for all these guys, Asante Samuel Jr., Eric Stokes, and one dude kept showing up, just kind of bossing all these guys. And it was Josh Palmer, who happened to have, against cornerbacks drafted in the first or second round, he was like 11 of 11 receiving for like 17 yards per catch and multiple touchdowns. And they were all against all these guys that win the first round. The guy that the Broncos took as well, that was also a legacy player. His father used to play for the Dolphins. Now I forget, but he's on tape with all these guys. So they went out and got their cornerback in the second round. They drafted Asante Samuel Jr. And then in the third round, they took the dude who was on tape beating all these guys. And it just so happens that Asante Samuel Jr. and him used to play together in high school. So it's a little camaraderie story there for those guys. But interesting how that happens sometimes, where they were just like, they weren't even looking for a wide receiver, but when they were looking at all the top players, it was the same dude over and over, just beating these guys one-on-one. And they're like, let's go.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, let's get that guy too.
Who is
That's crazy? He's never done it. He's never had more than over 45 receiving yards since 2021. So I'm not bought in.
Yeah. I feel you, but maybe Matt's right. Maybe this is the Palmer coming out party this weekend, and we see Palmer just blow up.
And Dustin, thank you, Dustin, in the chat. The legacy player I was looking for is Patrick Surtain Jr. So Patrick Surtain was a great cornerback for the Dolphins, and now his son is in the league as well.
We had a question in here from Brendan on YouTube. Wanted to know: do you think Bobby Trees bounces back and finds his place on the Titans after this week's disappointment? What do you guys think, Coop? Or JL, whoever wants to jump in here.
Yeah, I think Bob. Yeah, I think we knew this was going to be a run heavy offense. I think Robert Woods could absolutely bounce back and be the guy still on this team. Treylon Burks, I think is going to be the main guy, but I think Robert Woods could be wide receiver 2 on this team.
I still think Robert Woods could be the top wide receiver on this team. I think at the end of the season, we could still see Robert Woods with the most targets, most receptions, most fantasy points. And in week 1, he was on the field for 71% of the snaps, more than any other pass catcher in this offense. Treylon Burks was only on the field for 37% of the snaps in week 1. He did a lot with it, but I'm not giving up on Robert Woods. I'm not giving up on him yet. I still have hopes. I'm going to continue plugging him into my lineups. He was in a bunch of them last week, and he'll probably be in a bunch of them this week as well.
Yeah, it was the rookie Kyle Phillips that came out and kind of threw a wrench in the plans, right? He had like 9 targets, 6 catches on 9 targets. Pretty low ADOT, only 66 yards per catch. So I'm not like going out of my way. I did actually add Kyle Phillips though in a league where I have Robert Woods. I have Robert Woods on the bench, and I wasn't starting him last week. I'm not starting either of them this week, but I just figured, you know what? Let me grab both these players. And if Kyle Phillips does it again, maybe I got a guy here. If not, and I'll drop Robert Woods or whatever. But sometimes I like to do that, hedge my bets a little bit to see what happens. But you gotta remember, Dontrell Hilliard's probably not going to catch 2 touchdown passes again this week, which my guess would be Robert Woods or Traylon Burks is going to be the red zone option for that squad.
Yeah, I see Dustin in here was saying this is not the week for Mike Williams, saying Mike Williams is drawing covers from L'Jarius Sneed. PFF graded him at 90.2. Thinks he's going to shut him down, and Palmer should feast. So it looks like that's the route for Josh Palmer as well. Are you worried that Mike Williams gets shut down by Sneed this weekend? Or this weekend, Thursday? I guess your weekend can start on Thursday.
Did they change the usage for Sneed? Because L'Jarius Sneed, last season, for the most part, played a lot in the slot. But maybe they did lose a corner. They lost, was it Charvarius Ward? So let me pull up the numbers on that quick and see if if Sneed is playing more in the slot this year than he was last year. And if so, I mean, he's a pretty good player. He's got one of the best names in the league, obviously, dude. L'Jarius Sneed is an amazing
Clearly.
Top tier. While you're looking that up,
L'Jarius Sneed already got it. L'Jarius Sneed lined up in the slot for 42 snaps. He was only wide for 3 snaps. So that would have been a Keenan Allen problem. Mike Williams himself lines up primarily outside. Let's see, Mike Williams, if he's playing slot a bunch. Unless they move Mike Williams into that. I don't think they're going to change Mike Williams' role because Keenan. So yeah, Mike Williams lined up 6 times in the slot, 53 times out wide. Sneed lined up in the slot 42 times, only 3 out wide. So I don't think they're going to cross paths that often. That actually might be a problem that Josh Palmer is going to have. So, but L'Jarius Sneed is a good player. They might just mix it up, but I think he plays a lot of slot.
Yeah. Emily had one more question for us. Is what do you think about starting Tua over Lamar this week? JL, would you be willing to do that? The Dolphins and Ravens are playing each other this weekend.
No, I'm starting Lamar Jackson. I'm a big fan of Tua. I think he's going to do. I think he's. We've been hyping him up all off season. This is going to be a tougher matchup for him against Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, he's your guy, right? Where you drafted him, you got to start Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, can't get too cute with it, man. I know Tua looked good, but as sad as it is to say, the Patriots just might not be that good. You know what I mean? The Ravens are good. We know that they're a pretty good team, so I'm not going with Tua. I'm going Lamar.
Tua, I think, can be great. Lamar Jackson is already great. You plug Lamar Jackson in, and it's not like this is a matchup that's so scary that you don't want him in your lineup. Like, he's a stud. You drafted him to start him. You're not going to draft a quarterback that early to bench him for Tua in week 2, I feel like.
Go out and make a DFS lineup with Tua, right? Like, if you feel real good about both players, then that's what we have DraftKings and stuff for. Start the safe guy in your real league where it matters most, and go out and make a DraftKings team and see if you can catch lightning in a bottle with Tua.
Coop, I love that advice that you give. Like, whenever you're like, it's tempting.
This little,
it's tempting.
like,
I want to do it. I want to do it.
Get those go on, buy those NFT cards. There's ways to hedge. So if you like Tua, you can find a way to get him in there.
Yeah, or just draft a worse team that doesn't have Lamar Jackson, and then you can start Tua really happily. You know what I mean? That's if Tua is your best quarterback, then you don't even have to worry about that decision right there. Speaking of your NFT values, Coop, I know you Donald Parham has been ruled out for this game coming up, so your Gerald Everett shares just continue to be on the rise.
I'm telling you, I bought on that marketplace. There's different tiers. And I bought like a bunch of Gerald Everetts, like 15 of them for $1. They're selling for $9-10 right now. I already sold a bunch of them.
9x those Gerald Everett cards?
9x the Gerald Everetts, 9x those GEs. Yeah, I bought a lot of shares of GE this past week.
GE.
In my portfolio. People were like, oh, GE.
Wow, I thought they were going downhill. I never thought they'd come back.
Yeah, the Chargers tight end. And then, dude, the other cards were going, they were selling. I bought a bunch of them for legit like $8 or $9. Those are selling for 40, the next tier up. So pretty much rich now. Not a big deal.
Pretty much rich.
Wow. Pretty impressive, Coop. Pretty impressive. Who's next? Who's the next one that you're buying that the value is going to go straight up?
Well, the thing is, like I just explained, I made
Bellinger?
like $100 on Gerald Everett cards, but I'm like $700 in the hole on Evan Ingram cards. So, if you look at
it all comes out in the wash.
you don't want to zoom out. On the whole portfolio, you don't really want to zoom out. It gets a little, the line gets a little too red that way. I like to stick it to, I'm like a macroeconomics guy. So I kind of just focus on the green lines on the particular players that I like. Yeah.
Because you're a macro guy.
Yeah. Macroeconomics. So yeah, none of this is financial advice.
Economical.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm buying a lot of honestly, I'm buying a lot of guys that play on primetime games because that seems to be the ones that people are like, the game comes around and everyone's like, I have to build a lineup. I'm compelled to. So that's my trick as of now.
And Coop,
Dawson Knox. You buying Dawson Knox cards?
No, he blocked on 21% of his pass plays, 7 of 32 snaps. So I'm actually pretty much terrified of Dawson Knox at this point. I want to see what he looks like when he's not going to go up against Aaron Donald and the gang, but they asked him to stay in little too much for me. There were a few guys that were asked to block too much for tight ends. Dawson Knox was one. Kyle Pitts was another that had me concerned. David Njoku also blocked way too much. So something to keep an eye out because, if you're standing to block, you can't catch the ball. That's what my grandpappy used to always say.
All the time. That Coop's tight end love started early. Grandpappy was imparting tight end knowledge on him from a young age. If you're enjoying this show and you want to catch more of us, you guys can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. The game we just played, we play games like that on our channel all the time. We're live on Thursdays on Tuesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time for the Fantasy Football Game Show. And we've got a bunch of other content coming out over there as well. Coming up next over here, we're going to play some hypothetically, and then we'll talk waiver wire pickups that you guys might need to make after the waivers ran right there. And Alex Core from The Athletic and creator of the Trade Value Charts, aka peaked in high school on Reddit and Twitter, is going to be joining us on the show later today as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
First guest ever, the Action Network. Darren, thanks so much for doing this, man.
Of course, anytime I could be the first guest on anything, not to downgrade you, but yeah, no, this is great.
Darren, if I can go back to this Mickey Mantle thing real quick, this $12.6 million, do you think that would have been like 20 if this happened like 6 months ago?
This makes sense. I mean, you have such a beautiful card. The story about they couldn't get rid of these things because it was it was the high numbers. And the whole story on the Mantle, basically it was the high numbers. So it was the second set of cards that came out. Kids had already moved on. And then by 53, they're like, wait, that's the old ones. That's 52. And they couldn't really sell any of them. So they dumped them off the barge. And, so you had a scarcer versions of the 52 cards. Listen, I think crypto had people spending a ton of money, obviously. And so I think there's probably a little bit of a downturn, but I think where you see most of the downturn is things that don't make sense. And, to me, I just think, yes, there's still things that I'm just absolutely shocked about. But even in memorabilia, even by looking at Heritage last night, man, I think I had $59,000 in bids that all lost. It seems pretty healthy out there in the collectibles market.
Tell us about this Hugh Hefner Viagra pill container. You know what I'm saying? I've heard the stories about it. How did is it prescribed? Did you go to was it at CVS filled it? How did you come across that? That's a cool piece.
Yeah, listen, people think it's funny, but it is what it is. I just saw it. There was a estate sale from his ex-wife, Julian's Auctions, and his pill bottle was up there. And it said it was worth $1,000. And I was like, I don't think it's worth $1,000. I mean, it's the greatest party trick of all time to show. It is his real pill bottle from the pharmacy. Hefner, you, take 1 pill prior to sex, 2 if needed. It's great. No pills inside. But I did spend $8K on it, and the way people, I wish you would have told me you were going to tell. I would have brought it here with me. But it's in a vault, and when I know that I need to pull some trick at a party or something, I might bring it out. But it's a good item. You need one-of-one stuff. You know, I think that in this world, I think it's worth it to protect yourself in getting one-of-one stuff. It doesn't have the same liquidity because you can't say, oh, that sold yesterday for this. But I have comfort in that.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Carr claps his hands, now gets the ball, back to pass again, fires towards the end zone, Adams reaches, grabs! Diving grab for his first Raiders touchdown, just inside the pylon. What a throw and catch! The Fresno connection works for the Raiders, and they're back within a score, 24-19 with 4:32 to go here in the fourth.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I skipped a comment in the chat earlier. Tommy had a question for you, JL. Said, what will you do for me if I call in? I'm assuming to give you a compliment. What will you do for Tommy if he calls in and gives you a compliment on air?
Ooh, Tommy, I will record myself reading you a book. That's what I'll do.
Is it a book of his?
Yeah.
do like Mark Twain's autobiography.
Walter Isaacson's Steve Jobs biography.
You said someone else's name.
Steve Jobs autobiography.
Oh, Tommy's letting you off the hook with green eggs and ham. That's not a very long. I was thinking you would have to read him like Return of the King. He wants the third Lord of the Rings book, not even the first one. You have to read it to him.
Yeah, the final Harry Potter, both books.
Both books, 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Or were you assuming because there was 2 movies that the last book was actually 2 books?
No. I've read them.
You've read. I just heard the final Harry Potter, both books of the final Harry Potter. I'm going to read the final Harry Potter, all 7 books. I'm going to read the final all 7 Harry Potter books. We're about to get into a game called Hypothetically, where I pose ridiculous situations to you guys. You guys have to come up with what you think or what you would do in this situation. Take it to the extreme. Tell me what you would do in this one. Who wants to go first for our first Hypothetically?
Me.
JL's going first. JL, here's my question for you. Would you rather have the skin of a football, so your skin is a football, or fathers and sons like to throw you around in their backyard to bond?
Okay. Skin of a football, or fathers and sons like to throw me around to bond.
Instead of chucking the football in the backyard, they're chucking the JL.
So, assuming that there's just one of me, am I like booked every weekend or every afternoon with father-son pairs who are trying to throw me around?
I wouldn't assume they're paying you, but you are booked around the clock. It's like an obligation. It's a duty.
It's a duty. Okay. So that's a significant amount of time. Do I have laces in the other scenario?
Yes, without a doubt. Straight down your spine. You have laces that go all the way down.
All the way down my spine. Into the butt crack or no? Into
the butt crack. There's also a big old Wilson logo on you as well.
Where?
On the
tramp stamp.
No, you're right. It says Wilson right above. Replace your Travis Etienne tramp stamp with a Wilson tramp stamp.
Yeah. I mean,
now I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, Dustin in the chat makes a good point. Kids can't catch or throw, so you're just gonna be hitting the ground all the time, dude.
That's true. That's true. But I might not make it off the ground, assuming this child has to throw me. I don't think they're gonna be able to lift me.
Yeah, there'll probably be a lot of days where you're just like, are we done here? Because like, you know, they can't throw you, you know.
Yeah, they're taking a break, like drinking lemonade. I'm just like laying there in the yard.
The dad throws first. He gets you in the air, and then you just crush the kid as you land on the other side. Like, I got it.
Like just like being thrown, like as if I'm in like a pool, like a kid in a pool being thrown up into the air, like legs and arms flailing. I'm not. Do you have to throw like how could you throw a tight JL spiral?
You need your assistance a little bit. You need to tuck your.
Yeah, I would have to really keep form.
It could be kind of fun.
Honestly, the football skin might help in the situation. Can I take both?
You know, I don't think that since these are negatives, not positive ones, I'll say both as an option.
I'll take both.
JL's
I'll
taking the
take both.
football skin and getting thrown around in the backyard. Where are you going, Coop?
That honestly makes my choice pretty easy. Since JL has selected both, that means that I get to take neither. So I'm going to allow JL to take both, become a little football boy, and I'll just continue living my life like a normal
Just
person.
being old Coop.
Appreciate you driving on that bullet, JL. Enjoy your new unpaid gig in the backyard.
Thank you.
And in the hearts and minds of many children out there.
Thank you.
Coop's going to be JL's manager.
Open as a stepping stone.
He's just going to be the manager for JL, getting him all the appearances on the late night shows with his football
for no
skid.
money.
You get shows when you show up on Jimmy Fallon and they chuck you around.
He manages me, but he takes 100% of what I make.
Work and grind makes a great point. Not unpaid, just paid in the love of children and fathers, JL.
And bonding. Knowing that I'm forging relationships all around the world.
You are improving father-son relationships everywhere. Brendan in the chat with the super chat over there said, thank you guys for always helping out. Shout out Brendan, my man.
Yo,
woo,
dude. Let's go. Now we can afford to get JL that tramp stamp, dude.
Yes. Cover up the Travis Etienne one.
$5 Wilson tramp stamp.
Yeah, we know a guy that does the $5 tattoos. He'll hook you up, JL. It's with a electric toothbrush and a guitar string.
A fountain pen.
He doesn't have any arms. He does it with his feet.
Pours the ink out of a pen onto a guitar string, shoves it in an electric toothbrush, and you're good to go. What more do you need?
Would you rather get an electric toothbrush back fountain pen tramp stamp?
And you have to tell everybody it's for Jeff Wilson.
That's for the next hypothetically, that one there.
Or I have the top of the line tattoo machine, but I'm the one who's giving you the tattoo. So either a high quality tattoo artist gives you a Wilson tramp stamp with a guitar string toothbrush, or I give you a comparable size tattoo. So you can't just say it's smaller with the highest quality tattoo machine. What are you picking?
I feel like you got pretty good penmanship, or you at least should, considering the amount of money you spend on pens.
I got decent penmanship.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take the Simon tattoo because I think the other one's gonna get infected.
Sounds gross. Sounds pretty good. The prison tattoo.
Yeah,
give me the prison one.
It sounds worse than a prison tattoo. It sounds like just even worse. Get an electric toothbrush.
But at least the guy's a professional, dude. You know what I mean? Like
that's true. They know what they're doing. I'm probably gonna get infected if Simon does it because I'm just gonna be.
It's gonna be bad.
Just ripped
it's gonna
up.
Be bad
Yeah.
either way.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
That's a little bonus.
Have you guys ever seen the
little bonus hypothetically there for you?
Have you seen the TV show Just Tattoo of Us? It's like a British reality TV show. You can find it on YouTube. Two people go in, either people that are dating, friends, family, and they pick tattoos for each other, but it's hidden from the person until it's done. And then they do like the big reveal on camera. And it is the trashiest, worst, like very rarely are people kind. And then sometimes it's like the prisoner's dilemma. One person will be kind and one person just absolutely wrecks the other one with their tattoo choice.
No.
Like just puts like the most awful thing you could imagine on there. You got to go look it up. Just Tattoo of Us.
What kind of things is it like insulting to the person? Like, oh, this person
stuff that I
sucks.
wouldn't, stuff that not only would I not want on my body forever, I don't even want to describe them out loud on this show this morning. Like they're so bad. Like they are so like just awful
like
and offensive that you wouldn't want those tattoos on your body. They're god awful.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, but it makes for great television. I love laughing at other people's misfortune on reality TV. It's fantastic. You guys ready for the next hypothetically?
Oh yeah.
John Luke, are you starting on this one? You are starting. No, Coop is starting on this one. Would you rather cut off the sleeves of all of your shirts and jackets, Belichick style, or anytime you have to use the bathroom, you have to make anytime you have to use the bathroom.
The bathroom.
You have to make
use the bathroom, Daddy.
You have to make a poo in the bathroom.
Daddy, can we put the JL down for a moment? I need to use the bathroom.
Ow.
What's the second one? Daddy dearest. You put me with the JL again.
We keep playing catch while I'm in the bathroom, Daddy. I'll leave the door open.
Hands.
JL's, you hear the ball from the backyard screaming, "Wash your hands!" It's the guy
That's disgusting.
Okay, let's start this one over. Would you rather, Coop, cut off the sleeves of all of your shirts and jackets Belichick style, or anytime you have to use the bathroom, you have to make a 15-minute halftime speech to motivate yourself?
15?
15, dude. Wow,
Every shirt and jacket sleeves cut off, or a 15-minute halftime speech looking yourself in the mirror.
Every single time, regardless of where I am, I got to make that speech.
You got to make that speech.
Man, when you're rushing, you're like, you got a flight to catch and you got to just pee real quick. That's going to be so annoying.
Oh my God. And especially like you're at like a sporting event and there's like 70 dudes in there and you like,
you're like, come on.
And it's
I
like,
know you can do this.
And the whole
Get
thing's
your head in
the whole
the
thing's
game.
set up where you like, you have to, the thing is a lot of those bathrooms, the problem is it's set up where like you go to the bathroom area first and then you go into the hand washing area and like you have to fight through So you have to go through there, give yourself this speech where you're like, listen, Coop, you know, you've been down and out. You've had a lot of Chipotle this week, but we're not gonna give up on it. We can't.
This is number 2.
I mean, for all of
This is
them, right?
number 2.
For all of them, I imagine, right? The thing is, I've given myself speeches like pump up speeches.
I'm just
in the
imagining
bathroom.
you giving yourself a pump up speech for a number 2 in a stadium bathroom.
Yeah,
in between.
I've not in that situation. I have though. I've definitely been at like in high school. I've definitely been at like parties where I've been like get a little too drunk and I like I'm like in the bathroom, like in the mirror, and I'm like, we got to get it together, Coop. Like we just like I slap myself in the face, like we
splash some water on your face.
Yeah. We're like Megan's here.
The chat
right?
wants a speech, Coop. The chat.
I just gave a brief version of mine. I think you guys.
We need a 15-minute.
15-minute speech. Now, I think JL, you're gonna have to give the speech on this one because I'm gonna choose. Well, actually, I want to hear any of your questions first. The Belichick sleeve thing. There's a lot of problems with that. Like, I'm getting married soon, so like I'm gonna have to show up like to my own wedding, like sleeveless tuxedo, and just like not even cut properly, just like callously ripped off is how most of his sleeves look, right? Like, and they're not even like the thing is about the
like
sleeves.
kitchen scissors.
Yeah, he leaves a little bit of the sleeve there, like too much of it. Like it would be fine if he like actually like he doesn't even cut it off at like the seam. There's always like a little bit of sleeve there to make it look like even worse. So yeah, I mean it's kind of rough. I don't know, Jell. Do you have any questions for Simon on this one? And also, you got to give a speech.
I had a question for my own prompt that maybe you guys could help clear up. Would this stop you from shitting your pants? Like would this prevent you? Because if you have to make a 15-minute speech before you use the restroom, like would it just not allow you to do that until you made the 15-minute
Where does the speech occur? Like at what point in the process? Can I stand outside the stadium bathroom?
You got to be looking at yourself in the mirror. It is to yourself. You got to be looking yourself in the eyes. In whichever bathroom you're gonna.
Mirror. What if there's a lot of people in the bathroom and the mirror's not there, right? I just got to like
stand behind
over
them, maybe
shoulder,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Listen.
You'll know. Yeah, you'll know what you got to do. I feel like in this situation, like you're the forces of nature have taught you how to figure it out by this point. But I mean, yeah, that is something. I mean, I've been at sporting events. I went to a Bills Patriots game once where like I was in line and I was like, I don't piss my pants or I'm gonna die. Like there was no adding 15 minutes. There was no adding 15 minutes to the clock here. We're doing
I love how
permanent.
Every question, 99% of this conversation has been on the 15-minute speech before you use the restroom. There's been like one mention of the Bill Belichick sleeves. Like it was like
seems pretty straightforward. You know, it seems just like it's a straight shooter.
I mean, dude, it's like my fiance's in the shower and I pop in. I'm like, hey, can I use the bathroom quick? You know, and then I'm just like, Coop,
get a hold of yourself, Coop. Get a hold of yourself.
I didn't want to tell you, but this is your last chance for glory here. We got a kid coming up. We got a kid coming up through the system. You know,
they got your number.
He can go all night without peeing. He can, you know, like just giving myself like a down and out speech too, not even like a pro one. Like, like this is your last.
You're
shot.
weak.
You're weak. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead with the shirt one then. After
I'm gonna totally do the shirt one too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude, I'll wear no shirt. Like, yeah, for sure.
I mean, you guys live cold places too. I thought the shirt would make more sense for me living someplace so warm, but that's gonna be a rough winter without sleeves.
We gotta eat. I won't go outside.
the situations where you got to pee outside, like, you know what I mean? Just like at a concert or like, it's just.
What if you're camping and there's no mirrors around?
You better find one.
You gotta pull out your phone. You gotta pull out your phone and switch it to.
Use like the reflection of like a creek.
Jail sprinting around the woods, pants around the ankles, desperately searching for a mirror, so that he can finally relieve himself. It sounds like both you guys are taking the sleeves though. You want nothing to do with the 15-minute speech before you take a poop.
15 minutes.
Dustin in the chat said, Simon, are you regularly pooping your pants that you need some magical rule to stop that from happening?
I'm telling you guys, I'm setting an alarm.
I'm always going to be real with you. I'm always going to keep it real. The answer is yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes, I am. The answer is that is 100% true, and it's a problem in my life medically that I should probably have addressed. But I haven't. It's just part of my cycle. And working from home, I've learned to trust the fart a little more because the consequences aren't as high, right? Like the consequences are a 20-second walk to my bathroom, or if it's at work, like in an office and I do it, the consequences are a little bit higher, right? Like I'm not trusting the same fart in Target as I am in my office. Like I will Target, I'm gonna hold that sucker in, but if I'm just sitting here, I'm gonna let it rip.
I just want to make a note that right now it's 8:45. Let's really see if we can feel how long 15 minutes is. I set an alarm for 9 o'clock. So this is when your poop speech begins to yourself.
Yeah, you just start talking. You don't stop for 15 until that alarm goes off.
Yeah, this is where that poop speech begins.
Jay said the medical condition is Blue Apron. You know what? I don't want to throw that shade at Blue Apron. It's everything. I could eat nothing but like rice and it would probably still happen. Brendan in here had a question for us. Not about my poop habits anymore, about something that's a little bit more fantasy related. Brendan said Tampa DST or Rams DST. Currently have Tampa, but can snag Rams off the waivers. Would you guys prefer to start Tampa or the Rams this week? Looks like the Buccaneers are playing against the Saints this week, and we've got the Rams going up against the Cardinals. So who would you be wanting to start?
Why are such good defenses just like on the wire in this league?
Because that's
maybe they got both of them. They could have both of them on their roster as well. Some leagues require you to draft two defenses, as I found out this offseason.
Well, if you have both, then you start the Rams against the Falcons. The spread on that game is like $1 billion.
Yeah,
like 10
Rams against Falcons,
11,
for sure.
something like that. Like, yeah, for sure. Like
Cordero Patterson's gonna get 6 touchdowns. Nobody else is gonna get points.
Oops, and I said Cardinals. I said the wrong bird.
Break Peyton Manning's record. Yeah, they're playing Atlanta. That's a huge difference in bird there. You were like, is it cool if I bring over my pet Blue Jay and then you show up with like a freaking albatross? Like that's the mistake you just made. That's the mistake you just made.
In terms of albatross mistake.
In terms of Redbirds, one of these Redbirds, one of the worst teams in the league. The other one, pretty good.
While we're talking defenses, Philly Mac has a question for us. Wants to know, should I hold Cleveland or pick up the Steelers? So hold Cleveland. They had that week 1 matchup. I think they were a popular early season draft pick because of their early season schedule. They're going to go up against the Jets this week. And then who is the other one? The Steelers. The Steelers are going up against the Patriots.
It's the Jets.
The
Browns against the Jets.
I would say the Browns against the Jets. The Steelers also are not going to have their best player, like the dude that causes all the havoc, right? Like he really kind of makes it happen in TJ Watt, defensive player of the year, right? They're not going to have that guy. So I would try and see if you could leave the Steelers on waivers and then get him. He supposedly is coming back. He's not having surgery, which means he could potentially come back. But I don't know, man. Not as interested when you don't have that guy.
Also, it has been announced that Joe Flacco is starting week 2. So that may encourage you to take the Browns a little bit more there. Maybe a little less. I don't know how you feel about Zach Wilson. And then Jamal in the chat, another Browns one, but this one going against the team. This is like a bracket that the chat put together and we didn't even know it, right? Like now we have the winner of our first 2 matchups facing against each other. Browns versus Rams. Browns going up against the Jets, Rams against the Falcons. Which one of these defenses are you starting?
Browns.
Rams.
I'm going Browns as well. I liked what I saw from their defense in week 1. And it's the Jets.
I will say the Rams have a pretty early bye week. Get a couple extra weeks out of the Browns if you're going to just keep rolling with the Browns. But Sounds like these guys are a bunch of streamers the way they're doing things.
Yeah. Also, Emily in here had a suggestion for us. Maybe it would be less awkward if you sang the pump up speech instead. If you did it musical style in the bathroom. I'd allow you to step away from the mirror if you're dancing.
Yeah, you're only 4 minutes in. You definitely got to mix a song in. Like you do like 5 minutes, and then you're like,
and then you switch. You transition into musical.
Poop will poop.
Good morning, Andy. It's that time of the day. Boo doo boop boop. Now we gotta take a poop doo doo.
Poop doo doo.
Yeah,
now we gotta take a poop doo doo.
That's only 30 seconds, dude. Like that song is like you gotta be listening. There's gotta be guitar solos and stuff. Like we're talking like Stairway to Heaven. That's the kind of song you need to have here to make 15 minutes. Like the extent, like when you see Leonard Skinner in concert and they do like the extended version of Freebird, like that's the kind of poop speech.
Minutes.
That's kind of poop speech you got to do.
I grew up in a very anti-Leonard Skinner household because my dad has like a horror story of the first apartment he lived in. His next door neighbors just blasting Leonard Skinner at full volume every single night. So we can't listen to it without getting just like irrationally angry. I can hardly think of something worse for your neighbor to just like blast every night. There's a time and place for Leonard Skinner, but it's not at 2 a.m. in your own home. Is probably not the time. Jail's like, that's how I fall asleep. Freebird on blast on loop. Guys, coming up, I see your questions in the chat. We're going to be answering those in a little bit and then talking some waiver wire pickups. And our friend Alex Korf, aka Peaked in High School, creator of the trade value charts, is joining us a little bit later. And we'll end out today giving you some picks for your survivor pools. Whatever I say, pick the opposite because I'm terrible at this and I always lose in survivor pools. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
I believe one of our bosses at Better Sports Network put out a tweet asking all of the hosts on Better Sports Network to react to how their fantasy teams are going thus far. And my reaction was 2 words in all caps: not ideal. It's not having more of a 500 type of week. But then you had others respond saying they don't check their scores until Monday. Why? What? Is it just not fun watching your fantasy teams as the games are going on? I understand maybe not obsessing for the first hour, but normally, Ron, within the first 2 hours, I'm checking my scores. Why are some of our analysts on BSN against checking their scores until freaking Monday?
That to me is like you're watching porn and the girl starts to take off her shirt and then you click off the video. Why? Don't you want to see the rest? Like, come on, man. Sorry, I'm a person that has to look at scores. No matter how much I try and refrain, like I have to open it and look. So that's just me. Sometimes it's not good. I get it. I understand if someone doesn't want to check till the night. You have so many leagues. You don't want to put stress on yourself. But you're not checking Sunday night going into the night game to see what you have left. You don't want to know who your opponent has. You have, I don't know. For me, I got to check. So I got to look. No matter how much I have to, like right now with baseball, like I'm checking it every day. I mean, I thought in my home league I was done. This guy had a huge lead. I am actually a 1.5 back now. So now I'm like, oh, here we go. And I have another league that's close. So yeah, man, I mean, I got to check. If you don't want to check during 2, 3 o'clock, I get it. It's early and things happen, but I'm always looking. So I don't see how you can go the whole day Sunday.
It's fun. Isn't it fun watching your scores while the games are going on? It's fun. I get that you're on tilt kind of, but that's why we play.
So what are you going to do? Not watch games all day and then be like, all right, I'll tune in at 7:15, see what happens. Like, that's what it's like doing. I don't know. I don't get it.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We had some questions in the chat before the break. I wanted to hit some of those. I see one in here. Cameron wants to know, would you trade either Debo or AJ Brown for Cortland Sutton and AJ Dillon? So would you guys be willing to trade Debo or AJ Brown for the Sutton plus Dillon combo? Coop, what about you?
No. I would keep Debo and AJ Brown. If I was going to trade one, I guess I would trade Debo, but he's like playing running back and wide receiver. Like I don't like to, I like to consolidate my lineup and go for good players. I trust my ability to find players on the waivers or do 2-for-1 trades myself. So I keep the good players, and then I would go to my own bench and try and do 2-for-1s to get another player for my lineup. Like, what kind of injury situation do you have where you're liquidating AJ Brown for 2 worse players?
Yeah, I'm with you. That's generally not the trade I like to make, especially this early in the season. If you need it later, that's okay. But yeah, I want to keep Debo and AJ Brown. Either one of those guys are going to be great for your team. What we saw from Cortland Sutton wasn't what we expected, but there's better games coming ahead for these Broncos wide receivers. I'm not too worried. JL, are you making this trade? Are you taking the Sutton Dillon side? Or are you in agreement with us?
I am in agreement with you fine fellas.
Keegan had a question for us. Start 2 PPR. Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and DJ Moore. What do you guys think out of these 4 players? Which ones are you starting?
It was Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was DJ Moore. Who was the other one?
Mike Williams.
Amon-Ra and Mike Williams.
Mike Williams.
And Gabe Davis. I think you said Amon-Ra. So those were the 4.
2?
Start 2 of those. Between Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, Amon-Ra, and DJ Moore. You need to start 2 of them.
Well, I'm definitely starting Mike Williams. Is this full PPR or half?
Let's assume full. Let's assume full unless told otherwise.
I would probably
or
start.
You can give your answer if it would change.
I think it would change. I mean, like I'm only starting of that crew. Amon-Ra St. Brown is very clearly the one that's better in full PPR than he is in half and standard. Like he got 12 targets. He only had 64 yards, right? So like that's a better format for him. Mike Williams, I'm definitely starting. And I don't know. I think I'm sticking with DJ Moore. It's kind of interesting. This team you spent a lot of picks on wide receivers early in your draft, drafting Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis, and Amon-Ra St. Brown to only start 2, unless it's dynasty. Like maybe this is the exact kind of situation where you try and do a 2-for-1 trade and take like Gabe Davis and Amon-Ra St. Brown and trade them for like together, package them for one stud. Like take those 2 and trade them for AJ Brown, and then you have Mike Williams and AJ Brown. Awesome.
That's hot. And I would imagine you can probably get one of these guys in your flex unless your team is absolutely loaded. But I'm with you, Coop. It's Mike Williams and DJ Moore, and it is full PPR. We're getting the update, so I'd probably throw Amon-Ra in the flex if you have the room for that in your lineup.
Yeah, Mike Williams. So the LA Chargers are playing Kansas City. Detroit's playing Washington. For DJ Moore, Carolina's playing the Giants. And for Gabe Davis, Buffalo is playing Tennessee. Mike Williams is definitely a lock for me. I'm with you guys on that one. And then it's between DJ Moore and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm gonna go with Amon-Ra St. Brown, full PPR.
Amon-Ra St. Brown over DJ Moore. Yeah. And Keegan let us know he has Najee and Kamara at running back as well. That's a pretty loaded team you got there, Keevan. That one's looking all right for you. I saw a question in the chat, James Robinson or Jeff Wilson, rest of season?
James Robinson.
James Robinson from JL Coop. Are you going James Robinson?
Yeah, with the rest of season question, Elijah Mitchell is going to be back at some point. So James Robinson.
Man, I guess it depends what you need. Like if you just need that spot start, like if you're the Elijah Mitchell guy, like Jeff Wilson could be more valuable to you. He could have a better role than James Robinson over the next 8 weeks or so. But if you truly need someone to plug in for the rest of the year, like the rest of the year, it is probably the James Robinson route. I'm with you guys. But I think there's plenty of situations where Jeff Wilson might make more sense for your roster construction. You don't need someone for the rest of the season. You just need someone for a couple of weeks. Brendan wants to know how we feel about Jacoby Myers this week. So we heard your little report about Kendrick Bourne at the beginning, Coop. Does that make you any more worried for Jacoby Myers, or do you think he's still the primary target in that Patriots offense?
I think he's still the primary target. He's still he's basically their Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? He's a low ADOT, kind of slow slot guy, but they trust him on third downs and in short situations. So, his upside's not crazy, but I think they're going to have better games than they did this week moving forward. Like they're not going to all be bad. So Jacoby Myers is a pretty interesting guy. He also made some pretty decent contested catches this week. He looked good. So I don't think what they're calling for is for Kendrick Bourne to play and Jacoby Myers to not play. I think maybe that comes at the expense of other players like Nelson Aguilar or some of the other guys we saw out there a decent amount. So that's where I'm at with that.
Absolutely. Nick in here want to know, should I trade Dalvin Cook 1-for-1 for Javonte Williams? JL, would you be making that move? Would you be trading Dalvin Cook 1-for-1 for Javonte?
No, I don't like trades like this. We talk about this a lot. It was 1-for-1 at the same position. You're really just taking opposite sides of a bet with your league mate. Trading is really a mechanism by which you want to view it as a win-win lens. So you want your league mate and you to essentially both be increasing your chances of defeating your other 10 or 8 league mates or so. These 1-for-1 trades
That's
are
the poop alarm that just went off. So that amount of time, that was the alarm for the.
Oh, that's your alarm. I was like, what is
that? Was the alarm for 15 minutes from when I said that's how long the poop speech is.
That's a long.
It was so long we forgot an alarm was even set. Dude,
I know.
No chance am I doing that every time I gotta just pee.
God, the amount of pain I feel like I would live in if I had to do that. Know what I mean? Like sometimes when you gotta go, you gotta go like right away. If I'm required to then do an additional 15 minutes, you know what? I'm switching my answer. We're going to the other side. I was on the 15-minute speech side, but I can't do that, Coop.
On what planet were you on the 15-minute speech side after all the discussion we just had?
Because it was going to prevent me from, running into little accidents in my home. But I'll just take those. I'll roll with it. I know how to live that way.
Sorry, JL. Sorry to interrupt with
that's
more
okay.
poop speech talk.
Forgot where I was in the thing, but no, I wouldn't make this trade.
No, I agree
I'm
with
not
JL.
either.
You're not gonna. Why are you engaging in coin flips with your league mates, right, JLM? Like that's basically what you're saying. Is that like
right?
And the thing is, you have to remember, they got down to the goal line. They could have put anyone down there. They put in Melvin Gordon. Now he fumbled, but Melvin Gordon got the first crack at that goal line play, right? And then the next time, Javonte Williams got a chance and he fumbled. So it might not even be a situation where now it's definitively Javonte Williams in the goal line. Whereas with the Vikings, it's going to be Dalvin Cook, right? Like if there's a pass, I always think to myself, if there's a pass interference in the end zone, who's going to score this touchdown? And with the Vikings, I'm confident it's Dalvin Cook. With the Broncos, I don't quite know, so that's the difference maker for me.
Yeah, it's one is splitting carries pretty evenly. It seems like one is not. I'm going to take Dalvin Cook in this Vikings offense over Javonte Williams. And I agree with JL. I hate these 1-for-1 trades, like at the same position. It's hard to build a lasting trade relationship because someone's just going to win. Someone's just going to have the better side of this deal whenever it's a 1-for-1 at the same position. And the other person, it might not feel good to trade like that. And I know that's a weird thing to talk about, but you want to build like good trade relationships. You want both people to come out happy. That way it's easier to trade with them in the future.
There is situations where both players end up just working out. Like Simon and I, for instance, I remember a while back, probably a couple years ago now, traded Cortland Sutton for Mike Williams. We did that in Dynasty. And that's one of those ones where it's like both players kind of just did their own thing and are of similar type of value in Dynasty. But still, it's just interchangeable at that point. It doesn't feel like you gained anything.
No, one time I made a trade that was like the most perfectly fair trade of all time. Like it was like a bunch of years ago, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. We traded the trade was like Leon Washington for Dwayne Bowe straight up. And then that week, both players got hurt before they scored a single point. So it's like no one's ever going to have a trade that's more fair than that. Like Leon Washington got injured on the kickoff. And then I think like Dwayne Bowe got like suspended for steroids. And then he just like didn't play. So it was like, you're never going to get a more fair trade than two dudes that get swapped and then they score 0 points moving forward.
Yeah.
Just exactly perfectly fair.
Yeah.
I see Toronto Dave in the chat. What's up, Dave? Welcome in. He says Fun Tab's about to go up now. Yeah, Dave's gonna get that fun button rocking.
Fun rocking.
And guys, we had a fun question in the chat for us. Nick wanted to know, who do you guys have winning the Super Bowl? He thinks the Bills look amazing this year. Personally, as a Browns fan, well, the Bills are currently the favorites on the FanDuel Sportsbook at plus 500. The other teams up there, you've got the Chiefs and the Buccaneers at plus 750. Then the Eagles and the Chargers at plus 1,300. The Rams and the Packers at plus 1,400. So those are the top 7 teams, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook, odds-wise to win the Super Bowl. Who do you guys got?
Bears.
Bears. Yes. Taking the Bears bet. The Bears are at plus 13,000.
13,000, dude. That's free money. That's free real estate. I think it's going to be the Bills. I think the Bills, like, if you really think about where they are in their window to compete, like anything less than a win for that, the Super Bowl win for that team is disappointing. So I think it's the Bills. They got a lot of pressure on them to win.
They feel like the most complete team, like just the most balanced all around. So yeah, I think it's Bills.
I want to take the Bills, but part of me also wants to just buy in and say narrative street. Tom Brady's going to win one more and then run off into the sunset. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Buccaneers winning this year's Super Bowl. One more for Tom Brady, and then he's out of here.
He's my angel.
I mean, and they got the pieces to do it, right? This Tampa Bay team is a good enough team that they can win the Super Bowl. And I'll take Tom Brady willing them to that victory in there.
I think that now
Bills, Tampa Bay, Super Bowl.
And Tom Brady runs for president.
And Tom Brady runs for president.
Got my vote.
Oh, God. 2024, Tom Brady for president. Philly Mac likes Kansas City and says Kansas City versus New Orleans. They're going to have to play a little better than they did against Atlanta. Fourth quarter Jameis isn't going to cut it.
Oh, my God. Super Bowl Jameis would be unstoppable.
You think so? You think he would just be the kind of guy who turns it on in the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine the Super Bowl pump-up speech that Jameis Winston would give to his teammates?
God.
Can you imagine
I can.
the Jameis Winston poop speeches he would have to give? The 15-minute poop speeches, dude.
You got this, Jameis.
Unbelievable, bro. Yeah, that's way too normal for him. Dude, the eating W's speech, dude, like, that's all-timer. Dude, go back and watch that speech. You can watch it on mute. Look at Deshaun Jackson's face when he says they were just eating W's. Deshaun Jackson's like, is anyone seeing this guy? Like, is anyone seeing what's happening here?
We had another question in the chat. Someone wanted to know Jeff Wilson or Terry McLaurin in the flex this week. Jeff Wilson going up against Seattle, and Terry McLaurin going up against who are the Commanders playing? I just lost it right there.
Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions.
It's Terry McLaurin for me going up against Detroit.
Yeah, I wish you had a worse option than Terry McLaurin, because I love utilizing the Jeff Wilsons. Like, if you went and picked up Jeff Wilson, you want to utilize him, right? But not over Terry McLaurin. I mean, is there anybody else possibly that you could use instead? I don't know. I don't like it over McLaurin. I wish you had like a kind of guy that was like,
maybe like a Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, if you had a Jamison Crowder, I don't think we'd be getting that question in the chat.
Yeah, I was about to say, are we just going to start naming players that you would definitely start Jeff Wilson over?
Harris Marshall.
Harris Marshall played 0 snaps this week. He literally didn't play. So yeah, I would put Jeff Wilson ahead of Harris Marshall. I would put you name him, and I'll say I would put him above him.
Laviska Shenault.
I would put him above him. Yeah, that's the show. Perfect. Yeah, so I would definitely start. But I think I would start Terry McLaurin.
I'm starting Terry McLaurin. It's Terry McLaurin. Yep. This one's not particularly close.
Good matchup too.
Good matchup, and I liked what I saw from Carson Wentz in that offense last week. They got another good matchup this week, so I'm going to keep on rolling with it. JL, are you agreeing?
Yeah, I was the first one to say it.
Well, okay, but
the YouTube chat looks like 69mega.com new AI 84% will find a girl for you says hot emoji, kissy face, thumbs up. So new follower there.
Porn bots found
some sort of porn. The porn bots have found us again. This is
report. We'll get 69 mega out of there, even though they've been one of our biggest supporters today, coming in with these comments. Appreciate
Put
it.
them in timeout. Sounds so weird.
Shout out 69 mega. You're going to timeout.
Mega in timeout.
Would you start this week? Would you start sexy love letter or kissy lipstick emoji?
Kissy lipstick.
What you guys got? Who you guys got? I don't know. I kind of like the love letter there.
I'm starting love letter here. Kissy emojis, I'll flash. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be inconsistent.
Kissy
Sometimes it works
a
out
classic.
For you. Kissy emoji is safe.
It's iconic.
It's safe, but you don't know what's in that letter. Like, think there's. I mean, the floor is pretty low. The floor is low for what's in the letter, but the upside I think is a little higher. Like what kissy face is.
Could just be a letter.
Could be a kissy face.
Could be kissy lips.
It could be a debt. It could be a debt collector who just sent you your debt with a heart sticker on there. They ran out of their other stickers. Their tongue doesn't work anymore to close envelopes. They just had to borrow some heart stickers from their daughter.
I got a faulty tongue. Sorry, bro.
Tongue too dry. Can't close these envelopes. I wanted to talk to you guys. Waiver Wire ran this morning. We were just talking about Jeff Wilson as someone that people added, about players that maybe are still sitting out there on the waiver wire that haven't been added yet. Coop, you and I were talking a little bit before the show about one player that might need to be added. Dontrell Hilliard, if he has that receiving role in Tennessee, is that a guy now that waivers have run that you're looking to maybe scoop up for free? Do you think he's worth rostering in fantasy?
Yeah, I mean, like, I almost like the analyst in me almost hates that he scored 2 touchdowns because it makes you feel like you're chasing touchdowns like an idiot. But at the same time, you know, if he's going to carve out a pass catching role, Derrick Henry caught 0 passes, then that's something. I mean, in this world of split backfields, that you need to have something that you're better at than everyone else on the team. So if he can carve out a pass catching role in deep leagues, especially 0 RB leagues, it's something to consider. But, you know, we need to see him have a game with like 5 or 6 targets before you go with him, because obviously, you know, you ask that question, if there's a pass interference at the goal line, I can tell you, it's not going to be Dontrell Hilliard, right?
Yeah. I saw Dave in here saying I scooped Dortch and Skronek in a few leagues. They're probably still sitting out there on waiver wires. Do you have any interest in either of those players? Do you like these pickups from Dave?
Dortch?
Yeah, I threw a couple of waiver claims on both of these guys in my leagues last night.
Dortch and Skronek sounds like a Middle Eastern crime fighting comic, you know,
law firm.
Yeah, for this week's episode of Dortch and Skronek. Like, you know, Dortch, I think he has value until Rondale Moore gets back. He's playing that Rondale Moore role. I actually tweeted just to kind of twist the knife a bit. I said Greg Dortch is better at being Rondale Moore than Rondale Moore is. But, you know, it seemed like he was playing that role. And then Ben Skowronek is playing the Van Jefferson role. So until those guys come back, those dudes have value, but I think they go right back to being meh when the starters get back, right? Like if Van Jefferson was playing, Ben Skowronek would not play 50 snaps.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nick had a question for us. Want to know, should I start MVS or Devin Duvernay after his great week 1? The Chiefs going up against the Chargers on Thursday night. Devin Duvernay going up against the Dolphins. I know we haven't been loving Devin Duvernay as like a fantasy option just based on what we expect his consistency to be, but MVS, maybe that's a little bit closer. JL, are you starting MVS or are you starting Devin Duvernay?
I am absolutely starting MVS in this one. Devin Duvernay got those 2 touchdowns on what was it, 4 targets, Coop? That's
Yeah,
right, 4 targets. That is not sustainable. We're not going to see this from Devin Duvernay every single week. He's going to have games like this, and I think they're going to be more spread out than you'd like. So it's MVS for me.
Yeah, no Duvs for me. He didn't play. He didn't play
Duvs.
enough. No on the Duvs, bro. Sorry, Texas fans. He only played half the game, whereas MVS actually led the Chiefs in snaps and in pass snaps. And I'm talking, he played more snaps than Travis Kelce. He played more snaps than Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, you know, he ran 35 routes on the 44 pass plays, which, granted, Kelce and Juju were right there, but, you know, if he's going to play the full-time role as their split end and the field stretching guy, he's capable of big plays. So he also got a carry there, which is kind of nifty. So MVS, pretty interesting to me.
It's MVS for me. Could we see Devin Duvernay go off for 2 touchdowns again? Sure. Like it's possible, but that is not what I'm making my bets on. I'm with you, Coop. I'm going MVS on this side. Matt, what's up, Matt? He said, "What's up, fam? Welcome in."
What
he
up,
wanted
Matt?
to know. He wants to scoop Jamar Dotson off the waiver wire. Looks like maybe Jahan Dotson. Sorry, I was still thinking. Ahead a little bit. He said, worth dropping Ayuk or Robert Woods for, possibly drop Julio. So would you be willing to drop Brandon Ayuk, Robert Woods, or Julio Jones for Jahan Dotson?
Oh,
I would consider dropping Robert Woods. I mean, Julio's a guy that I would
he's the
add.
only one in there.
He's an ad, yeah. Because I mean, like Julio looked good. Speaking guys that got a couple carries, you know. But John Dotson, certainly interesting. Got a good snap share. He had a much higher average depth of target than Curtis Samuel. So that's one where it's like people were talking Curtis Samuel versus John Dotson. I think Curtis Samuel may be in PPR, John Dotson in half or standard, because the ADOT makes all the difference really when it comes to yardage, right? Like Curtis Samuel's ADOT was 1.3 yards. John Dotson's was 16. If those guys get the same number of targets, you can expect more points, most likely in half PPR for John Dotson. So yeah, I would consider that. See if you can catch lightning in a bottle with a rookie.
I like Jahan Dotson, but I'm not dropping any of those guys. I like Robert Woods, Brandon Ayuk, and Julio Jones. I love Jahan Dotson, picking him up, but man, those are guys that I'm expecting decent years from. So I'm keeping them.
On the other side, though, Simon, rookie shiny.
I know. Rookie shiny. We all love our rookies here, but I just can't do it. I can't do it. 234 wanted to ask you specifically, Coop, just for you. Said, Coop, would you start Bateman over McLaurin? So this week, Bateman going up against the Dolphins. We were just talking Commanders, I believe, going up against the Detroit Lions. Who are you starting?
I'm starting McLaurin over the Lions just because his role is more established. He's an every down player. He's going to be out there every snap. Bateman, he led the team in snaps, but he's still working his way into that Hollywood Brown chair, and the matchup just isn't as good. Like, if you can start dudes against the Lions, you should. The Lions are kind of setting themselves up to be the perfect team to start against because their offense is actually mildly competent. They look pretty good. They put up 35 points. That's what you want. You don't want a team crushing you and then taking their foot off the gas when the score is 24-7. You want it to go to 38-35, like the Eagles game did this weekend. So the Lions are setting themselves up to be like the Blake Bortles Jaguars that just kind of hung in the game long enough that you had to keep playing. That's the perfect situation for fantasy points.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Coop. Joe, what do you think?
I agree with Coop. I'm going McLaurin. Just in general.
Just about the world today.
I agree with Coop. Yeah, that's it.
So tell us about, what do you think about the economy?
The economy could be better. Could be worse.
Yeah. Gas is
gas is right. You know what I mean?
The last time I drove my car, it was like a month and a half ago. I just don't drive, so I don't know anything about gas prices. I don't even know what's going on there. And also, Coop, I was going to say earlier, you've given me more economics knowledge than I've ever had in my life. The state of Georgia only requires half a credit of economics to graduate high school. You don't even have to take a full year right there. So I know just enough, just what's in the first couple chapters of that textbook.
So wait, when do you learn about NFTs?
Oh, that must have been in the other half credit. I think if you took the full year, the NFTs come up in the second half. They skipped it there. Dave in the chat saying, I am very susceptible to the shiny toy syndrome. I think we all fall for that, especially when you start playing Dynasty. When I first started Dynasty, I was drafting rookies like nobody's business in redraft.
I've never done that.
You've never done that, JL? Never had that happen?
No, I do that all the time. I am the worst. I'm the most guilty.
I think in the mock drafts this season, once it reached like round 7, JL's team was rookies.
All
only.
rookies.
Like you would be like, I could take Tyler Boyd, or I could take a rookie.
Or I could take Jalen Tolbert.
Jalen
Healthy
Tolbert's
scratch. Yeah. So how's that working out for you?
I got great. Great.
Tommy says, so Simon, you don't drive, hide candy under your bed, and have problems making it to the bathroom. You sound like a great roommate. I can drive, and I drive when necessary. I just work from home all the time, and all the things I need are right here. I just don't drive very often, and we can walk over there. There's no candy under the bed anymore. I learned my lesson, Tommy. We're good there, but I do have trouble making it to the bathroom, so you have to live with that if you're going to live with me. But I'm
and the speeches
and the speeches. Coming up, we've got our friend Alex joining the show, aka Peaked in High School. He is the creator of the trade value chart. So we'll be talking some movers on those trade value charts very shortly. And then we'll give you some of our picks for the survivor pools for week 2 and maybe talk some more waiver wire as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
It's sports talk done better.
Coop, we did have a question for you. Get into Game wants to ask if you could create an all tight end team. Like, who would be your top tight ends? Like your favorite guys that you would put on your all tight end team?
Or does he want me to do an all tight end team where I fill out all the positions? Because I could do that.
That could
too.
work as well. Yeah, you want to do that?
So a wide receiver 1, split end would be Kyle Pitts.
Checks out. I knew you were going to say Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. Now on the other side, I would have Jimmy Graham.
Okay.
At the actual tight end slot, inline tight end, I'd have Rob Gronkowski.
Okay.
In the slot, I would have Tony Gonzalez, who under Chan Gailey for the Chiefs back in mid-2010s, he led the league in routes run from the slot. Now at quarterback, I would have Logan Thomas, a converted quarterback that now plays tight end. Right? At running back, give me Jonnu Smith, a guy that has multiple rushing touchdowns. He could bring it up and down the field. At left tackle, give me Michael Pruitt, one of the premier blocking tight ends in the league. At right tackle, give me Nick Boyle.
Are you done this all off the top of your head?
Of course. At guard, we're gonna fill out the line with the best blocking tight ends that I can think of. So actually at center, give me a guy that's been a captain on a team because you need a strong, smart player at center. Give me
leadership.
Mercedes Lewis, a guy that's been in the league for a long time, one of the premier blockers. At guard, you're gonna want a little speed, a little heft. So I'll take a current guy, Albert Akwe-Bunam. I'll put him 6'6", 260. Put him at left guard. Have him do some swing routes. Have him run around. At right guard, I'll take. Give me Jason Witten. Just give me a big monster to throw in.
Get him out of the booth.
Throw down the run blocking. And
can we put this in like a graphic?
As my fullback move tight end, I'm going to go with a guy that's played a bunch of fullback. He's played a bunch of move tight end. Very underrated. Give me Chris Cooley, former Redskins tight end, move tight end, Chris Cooley. So that would be my all-time tight end offense. If you need
now radio personality.
I am
in the DMV.
I am so impressed. Not just like you didn't just pull out those names and you didn't stop after the positional guys. You said we're talking O-line here too because that's an important part of the offense. Coop, I could not put together a better all tight end team right now.
Now put a full depth chart together.
You'd be insane to do it. I feel like a maniac just having done that. But
who's the punter and who's kicking field goals?
Punter easily is going to be Algie Crumpler because right off the top of my head,
I've ever heard.
Kind of sounds like punter. Seems like he could boot the ball.
Crumpler the punter.
Crumpler punter. And then for kicker, we just want to have as many all-time greats on the roster. So give me Antonio Gates.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are about to have our friend Alex join the show, aka Peaked in High School. He is the creator of the trade value charts, and with The Athletic, man, I am excited to talk because I feel like there were some big movers this week whenever it comes to these trade value charts, how the public is looking at these players. Alex, can you hear us?
I can. I didn't create the trade value charts. That was before me, but I created a new iteration. Simon, I have to correct you. I can't take credit for creating everything.
You created it all.
He comes in with the wife beater with the pythons out. He says, "Shut up, Simon."
Yeah, shut up, duh, idiot.
Sorry, I was running late from the gym. I didn't get a chance to change this morning. Sorry, guys.
We prefer.
Sorry, guys.
It's mesh too. You can't see it, but you can see right through it.
So you get some nip. You get some nip action with that as well.
Keep those nips below the camera frame.
Nips are flying around on the show today, folks. Let's go
with the mug.
Get those trades flying around. Get the nips flying around.
What's the trade value of your nips? You got
going up by the minute.
I mean, you just said that.
That's getting clipped.
That's getting clipped.
Yeah, clip it.
That's good.
Trade value of your nips.
Nipped and clipped.
Alex, it's week 2, so you have some new data
nips
that you were able to plug into the charts there. I just wanted to start. Let's start hot. Are there any surprises that you saw on these charts as you put them out this morning?
Yeah, I think single-handedly the biggest surprise is probably what happened to the tight end position, which is, I called it the tight end wasteland, and I'm glad we got Coop on here. Almost everyone dropped, which is fair. It was a pretty disappointing week, right? But I mean, Andrews went down 6.5 points. That's insane to me. I thought he did fine. Pitt stayed about the same. Waller went up a little bit. Kittle went down.
Taron Waller thriving.
Yeah. But the big one, I think one of the biggest one was Muth. Fryermuth went down a couple, and I don't
care how he was.
Andrews minus 15.
A lot of targets for him this week, but it's still yet to be seen if he's going to. I mean, the thing is, anytime you get it's hard with just 1 week of data, right? Because anytime you get an overtime game, it's like, can we quantify that? Now you're getting into per snap stuff, but yeah, I don't know. And now let me ask Does your formula at least attempt to account for positional scarcity, or is it just
Yes.
flat out value? It does. Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. And that's part of the reason why, and some of the most common feedback I get is that, oh, your running backs are too high, your tight ends are too low, your quarterbacks are too low. I'm like, well, I'm only starting one of those, and I'm starting 2.5 running backs, on average at 2, 3, whatever, and then 3 to 4 wide receivers. You're just wrong. But I say it nicer than that usually.
You're just wrong.
Not on Reddit though. Not on Reddit. On Reddit, I'm just like, you're wrong.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm wrong sometimes. Right now, you are, but
get out of here with your anonymous Reddit account. Come find me on Twitter when you have a real picture.
Yeah.
I saw a trade question on YouTube that we can probably use these charts to help answer, Alex. It was someone asking specifically, who should I be looking for at the wide receiver position if I'm trading AJ Dillon and Javonte Williams? So AJ Dillon plus Devontae Williams, looking at your charts, that value is over 75, right? Whenever you add those two players together, Javonte Williams and AJ Dillon, which would put it above any of the wide receivers in a PPR league. But there's always the discount that you have to take whenever you're the one getting the best player, right? Is there a player that you think you'd be shooting for? And how much of a discount are you going to get whenever you're not the one getting the package?
Yeah, so I did a study in 2021, the summer, where I took data from Pulse Sports. Remember John?
Yeah.
Ran it through my model and looked at actual trades that people voted on as fair, and found that it's not a linear relationship, right? You overpay for the top of the chart. So these charts are designed for 1-for-1 positional trades. When you start looking at 2-for-1s or 3-for-1s, like you said, you have to overpay. And what we found is at the top, at the tippy top, you're going to overpay probably by 50%. So if you want to spend on Justin Jefferson, it would be 73 times 1.5, which is like 110, right?
109.5. Look at that math first thing in the morning. You got the muscle and the brains.
Yeah.
What don't you have, Alex?
Love.
Oh no! Oh no!
Why did I picture Alex as like a robot, just like a jacked robot? He's like, you have the numbers.
I have never found love.
I have never felt love.
So back to it. Javonte Williams plus AJ Dillon would be 40. I have it on my phone. 46 plus 30. Okay. It's maybe a little low for JJ, but I don't think it's unreasonable. I mean, you could shoot it for Diggs, for Adams, for Chase. That's the tier I'd be looking at. I think it's too much to give up for Pittman and AJ Brown, but I don't think it's insane, especially if you have the running back depth. I'd be looking at those tier 1 and upper tier 2 wide receivers personally.
Yeah. Now, everyone in the chat, now is the time to fire out those trade questions, even if they've been asked already, because we have the trade guru here to help you out with that. So fire a few of those in there, and we'll slap some numeros on there.
We got a good question from Scott Fish here. Yes, how much do you factor in points allowed to tight ends? Teams allowed over 11 fantasy points per game to tight ends last week, which was really high.
I don't, because I don't know. That's not a metric that I found to be super, super sticky. I think I've seen it be more sticky team-wise, like certain defenses for some reason seem to, but it's usually the middle of the road doesn't matter. It's the 1 year where Arizona forgot the tight end position existed on defense. Like it's those. So a lot of the time, I guess it was a weird year or a weird week, but 1 week trends like that usually don't have a huge effect on what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that really is the case. It's like when I do my weekly rankings, like sometimes there's tight end killers, like the Patriots have been killers for tight ends, and then sometimes there's teams that legit will let you throw it to the tight end, like they have the funnels, right? Like the Eagles are a team that have like Bradbury on one side and Slay on the other side, and they're like, go ahead and throw it over the middle, right? Like so sometimes you have at the high ends it matters. In the middle, I don't really look at it that way. I do sometimes look at the over under. If you got 2 middle of the pack teams and the over under is 54, and then 2 other teams and the over under is like 40 points, then of course I'm going to skew towards starting the tight ends in the higher scoring games. But the individual defenses, you can only get so much out of that, right, Alex?
Yeah, exactly. You got it perfectly. Now that I have you, I had Gesicki in too many leagues, and I haven't seen your ranks yet for this week. You doing Logan Thomas? You doing Gerald Everett? Where are you feeling? I'm sure you've gone over this ad nauseum already, but
no, not even on this show. I mean, I have
really? Okay.
I put it up there. The charts up there. We don't really talk much about football on the show. We did a lot of talk about like singing.
We spent a long time talking about poop and 15-minute poop speeches today. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't really talk much about
it.
football. I guess I could talk about my the tight end work that I do that's been nominated for awards, but we don't really talk about that on the show. But yeah, so Mike Gesicki is if you're a Mike Gesicki fan, you're not going to want to look at the post because he is a drop, in my opinion. They showed us that they do want an inline tight end to play that George Kittle role. And Durham Smythe actually not only played more snaps than Gesicki, but he ran just as many routes. Gesicki played only half the snaps. He basically rotated in at slot with the wide receivers, and he did play a little in line, but it's just not good the way they used Mike Gesicki this week. He had a pretty bad game. Whereas Logan Thomas, they're ramping him up. He only played about 50% of the snaps, but he still got 6 targets. This is a guy that usually, when healthy, plays 100% of the snaps. So Logan Thomas is a guy you got to stash just to see, because if he goes from 50% of the snaps to 75 this week, that means he's working his way back up to 100%, where Ron Rivera likes using him. Then he could once again be a top 5 guy.
Yeah, that's I dropped Gesicki in the 2 leagues I had him and just didn't even pick someone up. Just have an empty position. That's how angry I was. I was like, I'll go talk to Coop and see is it Logan Thomas, is it Tanyan, is it Gerald Everett? Who am I grabbing here? So
I tweeted the Gesicki tweet I sent was I said, here's should you drop Mike Gesicki in your leagues? My article. And then I just wrote the word yes.
Yeah. So I dropped him seconds later.
Drop him for nothing if you have to. Yeah, exactly.
I did.
Work and Grind had a trade question for us. Said, would you trade Elijah Mitchell, and what would you look for? So Elijah Mitchell going to be out for the next 2 months. Maybe there's a team that you could trade him to, but it's going to be at a big discount. It looks like his value dropped quite a bit this week, minus 13 points in the chart. What I'm seeing on full PPR, yeah, down there at 9.5. You know what I like though? Before we get into that, Allen Robinson, who played the entire game, dropped more. He dropped 15.5 points, still ranked higher than Elijah Mitchell, but dropped more than Elijah Mitchell, who's going to miss the next 2 months of the season. Alex, what do you think about this just from like a philosophy standpoint, like trading the players that are injured while they're injured, maybe at a discount? And then who would you be looking for with Elijah Mitchell?
Sure. So part of also just kind of to get everyone on the same page, I assume 1 IR spot at a minimum in all my leagues when I do this. And so that's the basic format. So if you don't have an IR spot, he's worth even less to me than this. So if you have an IR spot and can trade for him, I'm down for it. I would send those low-level wide receivers or even, Nyheim Hines maybe for him, Lockett, Ayuk, Devontae Smith, those guys, because I usually like stashing running backs, especially on IR. But I'm not going to overpay for sure. And if I have short benches 5 and no IR spot, I'm definitely not trading for him at all. I don't want to hold him. That's too much opportunity cost of not being able to hit the waiver wire and not be able to play someone.
And so you're not going the other way then? Like you wouldn't trade Elijah Mitchell away now that he's injured on your team at a discounted price. Like Elijah Mitchell for Hunter Renfrow looks relatively fair on the charts, but you wouldn't be making that move? No,
I'm also not a Hunter Renfrow fan. You said staring right at you two.
Yeah, that's okay. Two, not me, dude. I'm
I'm
neutral on
you
Hunter.
You can't hurt me.
I'm already dead.
We talked a little bit about that tight end. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Coop.
I was gonna say just on Elijah Mitchell, like this isn't like trading for DeAndre Hopkins here, where he's suspended but he's healthy, and the moment he gets back, he's gonna play 100% of the snaps. Like with these injuries, you don't know what he looks like when he comes back. Last year he got hurt and then he came back and was good, and then he got hurt again. Like this year he could get hurt and then he comes back and plays 15% of the snaps and then 25, and you can't even start him right away when he gets back. Where the 49ers could be in line for the playoffs, and they might say, okay, we're not going to get this guy hurt again. Like, just with these dicey injuries, you don't want to be catching falling knives like
that. Yeah, I got burned too much by buying AJ Green 3 years ago, maybe. Michael Thomas last year. Like, I usually don't look at, if you're injured, you're not dead to me because you're still a human being, but you're dead to my fantasy team, usually.
Usually, yeah. And some other notable big drops are Najee Harris, minus 15.5, CeeDee Lamb, minus 13.5, Allen Robinson, minus 12, Elijah Mitchell, minus 11, who we already mentioned, Justin Herbert, minus 10.5.
That's what I was going to bring up. The quarterbacks were a little bit surprising me, and maybe it's the same effect, but there were quarterbacks that did well that lost value. Like Patrick Mahomes dropped down in value after throwing 5 touchdown passes. To me, the only way I can like rationalize this or make this make sense is in the preseason, during draft season, people really overvalue those top quarterbacks going into the year. Like they draft them earlier, and then once the season starts, they realize, oh shoot, maybe I should have grabbed a running back there, and I would have been fine with a Ryan Tannehill or Kirk Cousins. Is that what's going on here, Alex?
Yeah, I think it's not that Mahomes or Justin Herbert did bad. I mean, right? They played well. Even Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts all did pretty well. If you look at every single quarterback, all the way down to, well, Derek Carr went up 2. That's weird. Kirk Cousins stayed about the same. Field stayed about the same. All of them went down. So really, the whole position shifted, and that's because you could have started Carson Wentz. You could have started, any of these other guys, and just. Yeah, Winston. That's a great one. It's just scarcity issue, and we lost running backs and we lost wide receivers. So some of them kind of just shifted in value, really.
See Daddy in the chat. What's up, Daddy? Good morning. Says J.K. Dobbins is too low on this chart. Where do we have J.K. Dobbins? Down at 15.5 around players like Dameon Pierce, Rashad Penny, Ramondre Stevenson, and Tony Pollard. Does that scream value to you? Like, is that a guy that maybe you're targeting after seeing these trade charts?
When he comes back, I think his value will certainly rise from there, from those depths.
Yeah, he's pretty low. He's one that I would be probably shooting shots on. But I mean, is he playing this week? Is he playing next week? They didn't put him on IR like they did Gus, but like, I mean, it's and then I guess when he comes back, will he have the full workload? I mean, he was like a 60% player or something last time he played. He wasn't a bell cow type, so. I think it's a lot of projection and hoping that he's back. Sometimes people take a whole year to be back from the ACL. Look at Saquon, not AP, but a lot of other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Coop, how do you feel on Dobbins?
Right. Like just for every Saquon and for every Adrian Peterson there's a guy like Marquise Lee who, just there's more the damage and it's different damage. I'm rooting for him, but I'm concerned that it's been as long as it has and he's not. See guys that came back after like 8 months and he got hurt, well over a year ago. So little bit concerned, not dropping him, but you just put him on the bench.
He got dropped in my home league. And I did. People went after Henderson, who also got dropped, but I was like, I'll take JK. Like,
I got a couple in my Reddit thread on tight ends. People were like, Kittle got dropped in my league. What should I drop Fab on him? I'm like, yeah, 100. I was like, go out. I was like, trade one of your players away for $5 extra Fab and spend 105 on. Like, yeah, in this tight end economy, in this economy, you got to get that guy, dude. Spend it all, right? You got George Kittle. But like, what are you going to use your Fab on for the rest of the year? You're not going to find another George Kittle,
right?
Freiermuth.
He's the new Kittle. He looked good usage.
He did look good.
See Esoteric Dragon in the chat saying good morning. What's up, Esoteric Dragon? Welcome in. Good morning. There's cats, dogs, dragons, everything comes to watch the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show over here. Alex, outside of J.K. Dobbins, that was one that Daddy brought up as someone that they think is too low. Is there someone else on the straight chart that you look at this and go, that's just too low? That's just too low for that player.
I mean, I think Darrell Henderson's still too low. I think, and James Robinson, the two that, really showed out last week as being relevant. Melvin Gordon, same thing. I guess I just have a soft spot for those guys. That there's kind of almost, sometimes you'll see a little bit of lag from draft rankings to react week one. I think all of those three, Henderson, Robinson, and Melvin Gordon, are probably a little bit low that I would be floating. I think they're great flex plays, and then you're kind of also insulated if something else happens that they could be even better. Kind of that tier.
Yeah, I like that tier of running back. It looks like they're all similarly valued as well. 234 wants to know, is Mike Evans too low? So Mike Evans is at 47, which is pretty high. The guys ahead of him, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, Michael Pittman. The guys below him, Debo Samuel, DJ Moore, T. Higgins. That looks like about the right spot for me for Mike Evans. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's the 9th wide receiver listed there. That seems about right. Do you think that's odd for Mike Evans, Alex, or is that about where you expected to see him after Chris Godwin went down?
I mean, that's exactly where I would have drafted him, or where I would have him. Did they say too high or too low? That's
too low.
Yeah, see, I think he was. I would have him above Debo, but below Tyreek. That's exactly where I would put him. He could maybe like be interchange. Like he's at 47, maybe with Kamara. Like he could be up at 50 or whatever. I wouldn't fight you on it, but I probably wouldn't shift him in terms of wide receiver order.
Right. Yeah, and this is his format too. He's a half PPR guy because and he's one of those guys where you think about like range of outcomes where some guys it's like huge, like low and super high. Mike Williams, you know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get 1,000 yards, probably 10 plus touchdowns. Maybe he's the only one that Vegas had at 10.5 or over touchdowns for the season. So even Vegas is like they're sold on the touchdowns. So he's that guy. He's a dude you put in your lineup every single week and just leave it there, which is all you can ask for in the world, right?
Speaking of Godwin, what would you guys do about Godwin? I mean, pulled his hammy, right? Like that's one that's bad.
It's bad because it has the aggravation factor. It's not like a broken hand. Like anytime it's a broken bone, you feel better when they come back because
it's fixed.
It's fixed, yeah.
I'd be willing to throw out a low ball trade offer for Chris Godwin. Know what I mean? Just in the hope that whenever he comes back, he is the Chris Godwin that we're used to. But I'm not overpaying. I'm not sending a piece that I'm even likely to start. Who's someone you could sell low on for Chris Godwin at the beginning? I don't know, maybe a Tyler Lockett if you send someone over there like that.
Running back, Singletary.
Then I guess it depends on my team, right? Is Singletary my second running back or is he my fourth running back? If he's my fourth running back, then I'm fine sending him over for Chris Godwin. If he's my second running back, I'm not doing it.
What about Lazard?
I'll keep Lazard.
Who's going to play first?
Yeah.
You'll keep Lazard? What do you think, Coop?
That's tough, though.
I don't know. I'm shutting.
You muted.
Oh, I don't think he's muted. I think he's
not muted.
I'm not muting. I was just mumbling. I don't know. I'm gonna shut my. I was actually reaching to shut my camera off and pretend like I had some sort of connectivity issue. Like that trade is so busy. Like I think I would just rather the upside of Chris Godwin. Alan Lazard, the problem with Alan Lazard is Alan Lazard. That's a big problem I've had with him historically.
That he's Alan Lazard.
How about a fun one? Drake London or Chris Godwin?
Ooh, that's a spicy.
Give me London.
London. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm trying not to overreact, but I'm nervous about Chris Godwin coming back. It is scary that it's something that could just continue aggravating him all season. We had a question from Daddy in here. Wants to know, who are you trading this week before it's too late and your league realizes they are dust? So maybe someone whose value is a little bit higher than you think it should be. Are there any names that come to mind?
I mean, definitely Mike Gesicki, if anyone could take him. Like he didn't play. You gotta realize that dude did not play, dude. And I would be trying to move any of if you could get value on some of these 2 touchdown guys like Jamal Williams,
Devin Duvernay. But yeah, no one's trading for Duvernay. But like Jamal Williams, if you had him, like people might look at that and be like, I want that guy. Then let's think about Gabe Davis.
Any of the Patriots? The Patriots are real bad.
I think Gabe Davis too. Honestly, I know that's maybe setting us up for he just kills the rest of the season. But
the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Do I just double down on saying that Gabe Davis can't do this consistently every single time he does it? Is that I think that's my role now, is to just continue doing that over and over again.
He rose 5 points. 5 points in this, according to Alex's trade value starts in half PPR. He's now more valuable, according to these charts, than Darnell Mooney. Simon, you taking Darnell Mooney? You're taking Gabe Davis rest of the season?
I'm taking Darnell Mooney. I know it was a weird game. I'm trying not to overreact to this rain game in Chicago, but Darnell Mooney is still the one there, and I think we see better weeks from the Chicago offense. I'm going to take Darnell Mooney. I think you'll get more consistency from him. I know it was a bad week 1, but I think you're going to get more consistent production with some upside for him to be like the primary target in this offense. So Darnell Mooney.
I might try and trade. I don't know. Kadarius Toney didn't even play. So he's either going to play more and someone's going to be able to buy low on him, or you just traded for a guy that played 7 snaps, right? So I don't know. I might, if there's still some hype surrounding Kadarius Toney and he's not even in your starting lineup, might be time to get away from that, because it just seems like he's got something going on where the coaches don't like him. There's, for you to be as talented as he is, and for them to play Richie James 42 snaps and you play 7, you got to have done something inappropriate. Maybe he was late for practice or something. But
All good.
Yeah.
I think we got time for one more question in here. Jackson Lopez in the chat wants to know Julio Jones and D-Hop for AJ Dillon and Godwin in PPR. So let's pull up the numbers over here. We've got Julio Jones. Where are we going to find Julio Jones on this chart?
He's down at 7, tier 8. DeAndre Hopkins, tier 9, 6.5.
So 7 and 6.5 for Julio Jones. And then for AJ Dillon and Godwin, I think AJ Dillon alone is probably going to be higher than those guys combined, if I had to guess, right?
Yeah, I mean,
27. Tier
if they
4.
sent that trade to you, accept it now.
Yeah, I would say that's the case. It's like D-Hop and Godwin to me are a wash, in terms of value. And I have AJ Dillon over Julio Jones. So
Yeah, that's an easy one.
On the getting AJ Dillon side, right, Alex?
Yeah. If you're getting whoever's getting AJ Dillon in that trade is winning. I forget who every other wide receiver are because they're nearly inconsequential compared to AJ Dillon.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just get the one player that's playing. Julio's fine, but like AJ Dillon, running backs are the currency of fantasy football.
Yeah.
And you see that in these trade charts. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today and talk some week 2 trade values. We appreciate it, man.
No, thanks, guys. It's always fun.
Guys, everybody watching, if you want a look more behind the scenes of these trade charts, a little bit more value out of these, make sure you subscribe to Alex's Patreon. He's on Patreon at Peaked in High School. We'll post a link in the chat as well. And Alex, we'll see you here same time next week. Talk some week 3 trade values.
See you next week.
No shirt next week.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Shirt.
Nips out.
Nips out. It's a Nips out party next Wednesday with Alex.
Out, nips out.
What was that, Jail?
I said blips out, nips out.
Blips out, nips out. I just didn't hear the first one. Wanted to make sure I was on board with what the first thing you were taking out was before I agreed to it.
Perfectly normal thing being said.
I'm sure Corey and Nando say blips out, nips out all the time.
Nothing to see here.
It's just a radio phrase, It's just something.
Yeah,
it's just some radio
out,
lingo.
Nips out.
Business talk.
Blips out, nips out. We're talking some survivor pools
Beat
in
bonk.
a little bit here and answering some of your questions in the chat. So stick around here on the Better Sports Network. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Quite simply, when I'm sitting at home and I flip on the TV and I have to see a personal one-on-one sit down with Aaron Rodgers, my blood pressure spikes. Just seeing the man. He's sitting there with Aaron Andrews yesterday. Oh, they're all chummy, buddy. Oh, Aaron, great to see you. Now act like a douchebag for the next 10 minutes. Can you do that? We'll even edit this up to get rid of the really bad douchebaggery, and then we'll still make you look like a douche. This guy. I saw a tweet over the weekend that says with his new look, he looks like a dude who steals catalytic converters. And it is it is spot on. Whoever put that tweet out, he does look like someone who would steal catalytic converters. And Ray, he spews nonsense. He's a great quarterback. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Maybe the best thing the Packers have ever seen. But, man, I see that guy doing an interview or talking or opening his mouth. And my blood pressure jumps. I have to go take a pill and maybe even a cold shower after that.
Look who's out in front. Wow, he takes on Zadarius Smith. And then he's going to go tell him, look, he's laughing. He didn't back down. I love that. You talk about fire and energy.
The only breaks we're taking? Box breaks. Always nonstop commercial-free content on Better Sports Network.
I can't disagree with you. When you see guys who Rodgers had that not a bandana or a head, whatever the hell you had for his hair. Aaron Rodgers just got greasy, dirty hair, and he's got just bit of it was sticking out when he was sitting on the sidelines after he got hurt his neck. And
again, far be it for me to tell a famous dude who's single that he should be dating 75 beautiful women and getting dumped. I don't know who's dumping who, but Ray, it says a lot to me that Aaron Rodgers has cycled through women like this. I'm gonna assume that they are the ones breaking this off and not Aaron Rodgers. And that's totally unfair to Aaron Rodgers, but the more I hear of him as a fellow man in this universe, I've seen these guys, and they are the ones that after a while, doesn't matter how many zeros are in your bank account, eventually one of two things happens. They find out who you are and they move on, or they find out that you work in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and they move on. One of those two things will lead to all of these breakups. I think.
Beautiful, successful, intelligent women that run from this guy in droves when they get to know him.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back in and good morning. We're on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. And we had some questions in the chat that we didn't get to earlier that I wanted to make sure we hit. We had one in here from Philly Max. Said PPR need 3. Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, Juju, Mike Williams, Landry, Hardman, and London. I think we can probably agree that Juju and Chase are locked in, right? Or Jamar Chase and Mike Evans are locked in as the first two guys. So who would that third guy be? Is it going to be Juju, Mike Williams, Landry, Hardman, or London? Coop, where are you going with that third person?
I'm starting either Juju or Mike Williams. This team is pretty stacked, though, because Jarvis Landry looked pretty good. Juju or Mike Williams for me, and I think I lean Mike Williams. I have a hard time. Like, if Mike Williams doesn't have even a decent game today, then the Chargers are in, or tomorrow, then the Chargers are in big trouble, right? So I think Mike Williams is a pretty good floor given the situation. The Chiefs have a lot more options available to them than the Chargers do.
I'm fully on board with you. It's Mike Williams is my third guy as well. JL, is this another one where we fully agree?
We are going to fully agree once again, fellas. Mike Williams, I am hyped for him this week.
Hype for him. We had a question from Esoteric Dragon as well.
Great name.
Esoteric Dragon wants to know, says, I'm in a shallow 8-team league and I'm getting overwhelmed with my choices at flex. It looks like they started ETN last week, kept him on the bench, but their other options are Darrell Henderson, Curtis Samuel, and already have Kareem Hunt. Who are you rolling with here? Kareem Hunt, Travis Etienne, Curtis Samuel, Darrell Henderson in an 8-man league. JL?
I think I'm going to go Etienne and I had to pick 2?
Just one. In the flex spot.
Just one. I think I'm going to go ETN.
ETN?
I kind of like Henderson, man. He played so many snaps. He was the starting running back for the Rams. Yeah. I mean, like, Kareem Hunt is so safe, but in an 8-man league, 8-team league, it's like, how you don't want to play the safe guy. You want to play the upside guy. So I would go Henderson.
I'm with you, Coop. You took it right out of my mouth. And this Rams team should beat the Falcons pretty handily, right? So this hopefully is a pretty rush-heavy game script for them. They won't have to throw the ball as much to take down the Falcons. But we'll see. I'm going Darrell Henderson as well. Adam Weber wanted to know, is Sky Moore worth a bench spot, or should I pick up Isaiah McKenzie off of waivers? So, Coop, would you rather Isaiah McKenzie or Sky Moore as a stash on your bench?
McKenzie or Sky Moore? I would rather have Sky Moore. Isaiah McKenzie did not play a full snap share. He was rotating with a bunch of guys. He was rotating with a second tight end, Jamison Crowder, and Jake Kumaro, not playing a full snap share. Give me the upside of Sky Moore, the rookie, just hopefully emerging and being something special. People forget that Isaiah McKenzie isn't this like new thing. Just because he's getting the starting slot role, like, he's been in the league for 5 years. He's never had more than 40 receptions. He's never had more than like 300 yards. So Isaiah McKenzie's been in this league for a long time. It's not like, I'd rather just give me the rookie that we don't even know what he is yet.
Yeah. If you need someone to start this week, like if you have to plug one of these guys in, I feel a little bit more comfortable with Isaiah McKenzie. Know what I mean? Like, I feel comfortable that he's going to get some work. But you said bench stash in your question, so that's how I'm reading it, and it's Sky Moore. Bench stashes are 4 players that can like work their way into the starting lineup if something changes, if it gets crazy. I see Scott Fish over here saying Sky Moore ran like 9 routes, but he looked good while doing it. JL, do you agree with what we're saying here? Is Sky Moore the better lottery ticket maybe on your bench?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pick up, if you want to stash somebody, like the rookie wide receivers are those types of guys. That's why either you drafted them, or that's another reason why you want to pick them up. I completely agree with what you're saying, Simon. With this week, I'd rather go Isaiah McKenzie.
If you had to start somebody, but I think he's talking about his last bench spot.
Exactly,
last bench spot.
You can't start either.
Sky Moore in there.
I can't. I wouldn't start either of them in this week unless it's a crazy deep format. So that's why I'm going for upside. If you were talking about who to start, then it's got to be Isaiah.
We also had a question from Tommy a little bit earlier. He was asking us, in the single game slate, who do you guys like as your MVP for DFS? So maybe someone that could differentiate you a little bit. There's one that jumps out to me that I think could be a fun one that we saw, a guy that we just saw score 2 touchdowns. And we mentioned earlier, if the Chiefs are going to keep up that shovel pass game, it's not out of the realm of possibilities for him. Doing a CEH MVP lineup might be a fun way to build this, right? Differentiate you a little bit. And he's got the shot at a multi-touchdown game. Like that's in his range of outcomes. We saw it this week. I'm not calling for it, but I don't mind a CEH MVP in this Chargers Chiefs game. Are there any other players? The quarterbacks obviously are probably going to be some of the more picked MVPs, but that you would pick at MVP?
Because the quarterbacks are being
DeAndre Carter.
Yeah, exactly. In draft with Giants, dude, those kick return yards, they add up.
Tommy, following up, do you go high cost or low at the MVP position? So do you get different elsewhere and go high cost, or what are you doing?
I've done a couple of those, and my strategy is to go Austin Eckler as my MVP and then try and lean into the Chiefs pass catchers a little bit and chase that narrative that maybe the Chargers have a good game and the Chargers are running it and using Eckler a lot, especially with Keenan Allen out, and then the Chiefs have to throw a little more. Try and differentiate yourself from what other people are doing. A lot of people are just going to be putting in Mahomes and Kelsey and saying the Chiefs are the favorites and they're going to win. But so I'm trying to kind of go a little contrapuntal there. Word that we have since last week.
Contraceptive, or what was that's what I said before.
That's
yeah,
what you said.
A
Yeah.
little contraceptive. Jail, where are you going?
Yeah, for my MVP, I'd go Kelsey. I know Coop said that might be a little bit more chalk, but I want to look for some stability in that position. And then I love the Eckler pick. I love the I think Pacheco could be somebody you throw in that lineup. Could really separate your build. But yeah, Kelsey is my guy.
Would you ever throw Pacheco in that MVP slot? Maybe like a full differentiator?
Yeah.
Jail's willing to try that.
I'd do it.
We if you made it past week 1 in your survivor pools, congratulations. Must feel good. I bet it feels really good to have advanced past week 1. I don't even remember it's been so long. So this is not for me. This is for everybody else who's still alive in the survivor pools. We're going to look at maybe some teams that we like going into this one. I'm just going to run through some of the biggest spreads on the FanDuel Sportsbook for this week as potential ones. The Rams are 10.5-point favorites over the Falcons. The 49ers, 9.5 points over the Seahawks. The Bengals, 7.5 over the Cowboys. The Broncos, 9.5 over the Texans. We got the Packers, 9.5 over the Bears. And the Bills, 9.5 over the Titans. Coop, you're still alive in your Survivor League. Is it one of those games, or are there others that maybe you're looking at?
So I'm scared of the Titans. The Titans do give the Bills a hard time. I actually checked it out after
Sal came on.
After we had Sal on, dude. They beat him in the playoffs, and they've been kind of a thorn in their side. If I haven't used the Rams, I'm using them against the Falcons. And I think this is actually a great week to use the 49ers because we don't really know if it could be risky because maybe they are just bad. They had a tough week this week, but the line's at 9.5. They're the home team. They're expected to win. And if they aren't that good of a team, this might be your avenue to sneak in and get a win. I know it might be getting a little too cute, which is what I'm usually against. But when the line is 9.5, Vegas usually isn't that wrong, right?
Yeah. I see Tommy in the chat saying he likes the Raiders at home against the Redbirds, against the Cardinals. They're 5.5 point.
Of course he does.
Tommy always likes the Raiders. Yeah. What about Tommy?
The Raiders.
Tommy, what do you think about the Broncos against the Texans? Are the Texans going to beat the Broncos, Tommy?
He's going to say yes, without a doubt. I kind of like the Bengals. I know they're playing at Dallas, but I like the Bengals over the Cowboys with Cooper Rush starting. Now, where this could get tricky is this Cowboys team, until they get their quarterback back, is they're relying heavily on their defense, all right? And the defense looked decent in that game. Micah Parsons at least was getting pressure. I might be a little bit worried for Joe Burrow, but I'm going Bengals. Jail, any that you would add right here before we jump off?
You just took mine. Then you're going to say any I'm going to add.
I said 5. I said 5 teams.
Jump in, adds a second one before I add any of them. Let's go Green Bay against the Bears. That's the one I'd lock in.
Green Bay against the Bears. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today and hanging out. A reminder, we're giving away 2 boxes of Topps cards later today, so make sure you are tuned in. Moose and Keith coming up right next after this. We will be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern time until 10 a.m. Eastern time here for the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show on Better Sports Network. Until then, we're out of here. See you later, everyone.